Hello, hello! Welcome everyone to your regularly scheduled Blue Jay program, or RedJay, depending on what platform you're watching on. For you, those of you who don't know, I'm now streaming on both platforms at the same time since I kept getting people asking why I don't stream on Twitch anymore. I didn't know it mattered to people all that much because it's just a different website, but fuck it, there was a way to do it on both, and so far it's been kind of working out. So that's what we've been doing. Anyway, yeah, so I took a little bit longer than normal to get into doing this stream here with my director's commentary, but I wanted to make sure that I did it before things kind of like faded too far outside of my memory for like all the little like nitty-gritty details and fun little things that I worked on. But oh, what's that £2 super chat? Have you heard of the legendary pirate Fanny Boss? I have not. I don't know who that is. You might have to inform me. It sounds like some kind of character from some show, but no. Anyway, I've been getting back into the swing of being productive. Usually right after I finish a video, I take some time off. Oh, I'm just now seeing people have been redeeming a lot of water hydration points, so I'll take some sizzle water real quick. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll talk while stretching. So basically, getting back into the swing of things, just yesterday I started doing an animation on the side, a fun little thing that I'll be posting on my second channel, RedJay. For those of you who don't frequent my second channel, you can start doing so if you want to see that come out. I'll show you that one real quick. This channel here, some people are already watching. Oh my god, look, that's me. But I'm going to be making a second animation, or a side animation for fun. I'm trying to put more stuff on RedJay. Right now it's kind of been subjugated to just gaming content and live streams, but that wasn't really my original focus for the channel, and you can kind of see that when you go through the types of videos that are on here. Like, yeah, there's a lot of gaming stuff, but like kind of like back early on I was doing other random shit like Christmas stories or like meme edits, and then I kind of just did some gaming stuff because it just kind of took less time. Director's commentaries are clearly like the notable thing that everyone likes to come here for, and I love doing those, and sometimes I miss videos and then I feel like I need to go back to them at some point. Like I haven't done the Egyptian one, but at this point I don't know how much I've really retained from that process to really contribute to like a director's commentary, but I could get to it at some point. Anyway, so I was doing that yesterday, feeling really good and productive. Today I started writing my next video, started the script, so been feeling really good and productive, and just kind of felt more motivated to do a director's commentary. So usually what I had done in the past is I would start with a little gaming session before getting into it, but I've been really enjoying this Final Fantasy series that I've been streaming that some of you guys have maybe been here for. And I kind of want to put more time into that, so I didn't want to like make everyone wait until after I'm done doing that to then do the director's commentary. So I'm going to do it the other way around. And then if you want to stick around for me to game, then you can feel free to do so. So director's commentary time. So as you all know, for those of you who have or have not seen it, maybe not, I did a video on the worst pirates you've never heard of. Now, my number one kind of like criticism, I guess, not really, is that a lot of people have heard of said pirates in this video. And I know I like to title things that are kind of like big absolutes claims, like I have some
Fashion
really
is riddled
videos.
with rules and laws
Why
that
is
are
it still
seemingly...
playing?
Fashion
Shut
is
up. I have some really popular videos that are named stuff like, the dumbest Russian voyage nobody talks about, or I have like the worst radioactive ideas in nuclear history, or the dumbest war nobody talks about. It's like all these like claims that are like very strong, like saying 0 people know about this, 0 people talk about it. Obviously that's not true, because how the fuck would I know about it if that was the case? But for this video, I think, while yes, in recent years, Steed Bonnet, who is a character that I primarily feature in this video, was a guy that recently starred in an HBO comedy show with Taika Waititi. Am I saying his name right? I never really know if I say his name right. in the grand scheme of things, he's pretty obscure. Like, if you go on the street and ask 50 people, who's Steed Bonnet, they'd be like, I don't fucking know. And then, or maybe one guy will be like, oh yeah, from like the HBO show. But then if you ask 50 people on the street, who's Blackbeard, they'll pretty much all be able to tell you, oh, he's like the famous pirate dude. Because he's like a very well-known, like, common household name. So, I mean, yeah, it's not like literally the most obscure pirate in history, but the thing with obscure pirates who sucked at their job is you don't know about them because they died right away. And that's something that I highlight with my intro to this video, which we will see in just a second. But before we get into that, let me talk about the thumbnail for a second here. So let's see. Let me enlarge it a little bit. So yeah, I have me with my pirate hat drawn by the lovely Cass, who I really should start preparing her Twitter account to share on screen because I frequently reference her in these director's commentaries because she does all of the artwork for the hats of my bird. She also drew the bird itself. She's the best artist I've ever met and probably will ever meet. She's insanely talented, but you can follow her on Twitter, and I will drop her link in the chat. Nate, when you end up editing this video, can you please make sure to show this on screen because Twitter doesn't let me show things if I'm not logged in, which I'm not on this browser. So Cass does amazing work. You can check out her stuff on Twitter. She has a shop where she sells stickers and various other fun things that are really cool. And yeah, I think she really went above and beyond for the artwork for this bird. I think it's my favorite hat to date. Just, you know, with the beautiful tricorn hat, the bandana, the beads, the feathers, you know, she put a lot of work into it and made a few revisions to get the colors really vibrant and popping. So I think that was particularly awesome. So yeah, we got that little guy. We have Steed Bonnet right here looking down the barrel of his little flintlock. You got Blackbeard right here and all his swampy, beardy glory with fuses lit that you can kind of barely see in thumbnail form. You got the beautiful Barbados background and a nice little sea turtle here. But yeah, without further ado, we can go ahead and get started. I might need to rearrange this chat window.
When you have,
as you can see, it's like covering the screen. So let's do that. Real quick here. We'll move you guys all the way over there. And then skip this ad. And then before I start, let me go ahead and I think this lets me, yeah, okay. Do this and see the chat a little better. Look at that. Oh my god, it's perfect and beautiful. Look at you, you're all so beautiful. You don't have YouTube Premium? I'm not logged in right now. I did get a free trial of YouTube Premium, and I kind of liked it. I think I might actually start paying for it. I don't know. It's just really nice to have like a little bit higher of a bit rate because, as we all know, they compress the ever-living fuck out of these videos already, and that kind of sucks. If I move myself down here, will that, or should I? I don't want to cover the title. Maybe I'll do like this little corner here and move myself as needed. Anyway, this video is sponsored by World of Warships. Also, let me know if the volume levels are good. Whoops. Sponsored by World of Warships. At the height of the morn, the sun pierced its cloudy prison to cast its radiant gaze upon Captain Johnny P. Ritt, the scourge of the seven seas. Squinting through the brilliance of molten gold rays, the young pirate swaggered along the length of his schooner, every second step proclaimed by the resonating clunk of his peg leg on weathered timbers. The splashing sea sent sparkling salty spray, showering the sun-soaked smiling sailor, accenting his striking pose like a badge of valiance. At the bow of his ship, the aspiring pirate's eyes locked onto his approaching prey. The prized galleon of the Spanish treasure fleet and a soon-to-be first big score as captain of the Flintlock Fiends. With a wave of his hand, these poor rapscallions would bear witness to the wrath and judgment of his schooner's payload. All that was left to invoke his trial by iron and flame was one word. Fire! Well, the Beautiful, beautiful. So, as you all probably know, I had a lot of fun making that whole intro sequence, and I didn't really want to talk during it to interrupt it, but basically, as I mentioned earlier, I I wanted to highlight how the worst pirates ever you don't really ever know about, because they end up like our little friend Johnny P. Ritt here, who miraculously died on his first outing as a captain. Because, you know, it's a dangerous life being a pirate. You never really know what could happen. And sometimes things don't always go according to plan. And even the most glorious pirates we know of ended up, you know, dying anyway, like Blackbeard, like Steed Bonnet, who wasn't glorious, but pretty much name a notable pirate, they didn't really get away with it most of the time. And the ones that we don't know the fate of probably weren't positive fates. So, anyway, I really tried to go above and beyond and push myself animation-wise compared to what I've done in the past with the intro of this video. So, usually I actually animate everything in my videos from start to finish. So my video making process has always been, I do the research, and then once I get a good understanding of the story that I want to tell and the facts that back up that story, I then start writing. I of course do some writing while researching. I write out the full script. After I write out the full script, I do the full voice acting from start to finish. And then once I do that, I do the animation from start to finish. So everything is really just from like start to finish, no like mixed up steps. I don't know if that's the best way to be doing things, but that's the way that I've been doing things. However, for this video, I had a more tight deadline to get this out the door. There's a sponsor. They want things done at specific dates to, you know, fit up with their campaigns and what they're trying to, you know, pay me to do. And so I wanted to make sure, okay, so I don't end up spending, you know, like an exorbitant amount of time making this the most grand cinematic intro possible and end up running out of time at the end. I'm going to save it for the end and then just use whatever remaining time I have before my deadline to make the best intro that I possibly can. And that's what I did. I worked on this intro up until really a few hours before uploading. And it came out looking, I think, really, really good. There's a few things I was trying to get done with this intro, but let me just first kind of like go through step by step the different aspects of it. So first off, at the height of the morn, the sun pierced its cloudy prison. I drew individual clouds here. I'm now noticing this is not in high enough resolution, which is pathetic. So each of these are individually drawn clouds that I then put into Premiere, and then just using some simple keyframes for position transformations, moved across the screen at various rates to simulate depth. So pretty much parallaxing, which I had done previously in my Wild West video down here, when I did that kind of like that like dramatic dual animation thing where I made up a story about like a cowboy, like what the fantastical Hollywood vision of what a cowboy is. It's similar to what I did with that video, but I also did that here. And then I added in some more animation and some more effort than I normally did. So yeah, I had those moving across the screen. I had my nice sun rays here revealed as the clouds move past it. And then radiant gaze upon Captain Johnny P. Ritt. I had both a background here drawn, as you can see, for the stern of a ship, and then as I go down, you know, I made a canvas that was like, I think like 3,000 by 1080, so that it's just really tall. I basically like drew a whole picture that's just the back of a ship in a tall canvas, kind of like a really big TikTok vertical canvas. And then I moved that down as I moved Johnny P. Ritt at a different speed to again capture that parallaxing effect to make it seem like it's a three-dimensional image. Playing around with that can really make animations pop. When you're dealing with stuff like what I do, stick figures, 2D animation, cartoony animations, if you really want to add that extra like oomph or emphasis, or you really want to like emphasize the dramatic effect of certain scenes, little things like that can, I think, go a long way. I think a lot of YouTubers use it a lot of the time to really kind of give a really nice polished documentary feel to the stuff they're talking about. Me personally, I feel like if you overdo it, it kind of loses its effect when you choose to use it. I think, you know, like learning to make a video is kind of like taking people through a roller coaster of highs and lows in various areas of effort. Not saying you should just make parts of the video shitty, but that you should emphasize different aspects of your creative art at different times, if that makes sense. You know, at times I'm emphasizing visual animation like I am with this intro. And then at other times, you know, I'm leaving like the special effects and the animation to a minimum, but I'm highlighting the historical accuracy of what I'm trying to talk about. I want to make sure people actually are learning something, gaining information and context, so that they can then go back into a high in animation or comedy or dialogue with more of an impact. So just like a little bit of my own, like, I guess, philosophy of video creation. But Johnny P. Rit, for those of you who may or may not have picked up on it, is, you know, Johnny, middle name P, last name Rit, or Johnny Pirate. Stupid little play on words, or I don't know if that really counts as a pun, but a pun, I guess. You all know I like to be a little shitter with my wordplay, so that's my first little word vomit, I guess, of the day. This was really fun. So, as you can see, I'm doing frame-by-frame animation, creating a walk cycle for Johnny P. right here. I haven't really done this many frames of a walk cycle before. I've had little bursts of frame-by-frame walk cycle animations or run cycles for various skits that I had done in the past. So, if you think back to my Wacky War Tactics 2 video, I had one of my favorite skits of all time was when they had the Indian British soldier running away during the Battle of the Bees from all the bees that were transcending from the tree line above. He was like running and then like fell into a mud pit. So that was like an example of me doing a quick little like frame by frame running animation. But for this one, I did a full walk cycle where I actually tried to incorporate some animation stuff that I had learned somewhat recently and had been practicing in my free time, where I did some keyframes, which is essentially, you can see, if I go through these frames here, a keyframe is kind of like the start and end positions of various animations. So like one keyframe would be something like this right here, where it's the full extended step, and then he starts moving his back peg leg forward. And then I had another keyframe right here where he is at his height right there. So I'm having him bob up and down as you would as you are walking, right? And then like as I make these keyframes, right, so I draw this frame, I draw the frame before, and then I start drawing all these in-between frames until I kind of get like the motion that I'm looking for. And I think it came out pretty well. It was really nice. I made a bunch of these frames and then I sort of copy and pasted them across the screen. It took a good amount of time just to kind of like get it right, and especially because I wasn't using like a proper animation software to do this. Because if you were to use like you know, something like Adobe Animate, you could enable a setting called show onion layers, or onion layers, where you can basically see like little phantom shadows of the frames that you have before and after the frame that you're currently working on. So like I would be able to see this point of the walk cycle while I'm drawing this point. But I was using Photoshop just to make it easy, because that's how I made the rest of the video. So I basically kind of just used my memory of where he was before drawing the next frame. And let me tell you, if you're trying to do animation right, that's like the stupidest way you could go about doing it. But you know, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna make it harder on myself to improve better as an artist. Was I actually improving better? Probably not. It's kind of the equivalent of using shitty technique in basketball while shooting a layup. You're just kind of making it harder on yourself, and you'll get better, but you're gonna develop bad habits. But I think overall, for what it is, I didn't really need to use like proper animation software to make a shitty little stick figure walk cycle, right? But then I had this layer. I was animating this, basically the pirate walking, with this deck on the same frame, and then like the background was transparent. For the background, I drew an ocean with clouds, and then as he's walking across the ship here, you can see that the boat is rocking. The boat, as you can tell by looking at the screen, is actually stationary. I'm just moving and rotating the sea in the background to give that rocking feel. And then, you know, I have like these sun rays, and I also have like a little like lens flare coming in to really highlight when I say like squinting through the brilliance of molten gold rays, I want to make sure I'm really showing that it's a bright day where the sun just came through the clouds. And I thought it was fun having like this this little boom, or the mast coming through the foreground blurred out a little bit to show that he's kind of like, you know, walking along a ship. And then I have these like little wave animations in the background to, you know, emphasize the fact that they're on the high seas. So yeah, I just kind of like wanted to make everything as alive as possible. Yeah, I'm really proud of this, how this came out. Now this, that right there, I got to stretch my After Effects muscles for the first time in like a hot minute. So I had actually gotten my animation start when I was learning like way back in the day, exclusively on After Effects, before I ever was making these types of YouTube videos. Back when I was in school for engineering, and before that even, I had found side contractor work doing After Effects animations, making kind of like these tutorial videos for companies. So like, for example, some, I don't know if I can name them, but like a large pharmaceutical company reached out to ask if I could make an animation to basically go along with a narration that they were providing on how to use a new software. So it's like an 11-minute narration, and I would make kind of like those like info, nice clean corporate animated videos in After Effects for them. And you know, like that's where I learned how to, like, the basics of animation, and especially like all these different types of transformation animations and how to make things flow and feel fluid and feel nice and pretty. And so I drew a water line, and I took it into After Effects and added in some effects on it to kind of give it this rippling along the hull of a ship. And then after I did that, I took that video layer and I moved it up and down so that it looks like it's swelling against the hull of a ship. And then underneath that layer of waves, as you can see, I had these splashing animations coming up and then showering onto the sun-soaked smiling sailor, again utilizing some lens flares here. So I will say everything in this intro I animated, but I did not draw these wave splashes here. I was able to find a free animation to do that. I'm kind of ashamed because I really wanted to do that myself, because I thought it'd be really fun to do some nice fluid frame-by-frame animation, but just for the sake of time, I couldn't get that done, and I found this really nice animation that worked out well, and basically just used like a free video layer that you can get with a green screen. And so I copy and pasted that animation a few times, and then showed it again up here to just, you know, show that like that shot was below, and now we're looking up at Johnny P. Red here, looking out at the glorious waves in his future prey that we're about to meet.
A sun-soaked smiling sailor, accenting his striking pose like a badge of valiance. At the bow of his ship, the aspiring pirate's eyes locked into his approaching prey. The prized galleon of the Spanish treasure fleet, and soon to be
not much to say here. Pretty easy to understand what's happening. Just some ship moving to the left. Ship's rocking here. Getting the rocking formation flow, I think, was really important. You want it to like rotate up, like right as it's starting to go up, and then start rotating down right as it's starting to go down. To get like a nice little wave effect. Now, that's the last thing I wanted to talk about there, if I can get back to it. Johnny P. Ritt's head blowing off. Yeah, I turned down the audio just so I could talk over it. So for this, I wanted to, I could have made it like extremely gory, right? Did I use real ships as a reference for the drawing? I did. Yes, actually. This ship reference here, I was able to find an actual image of the Revenge that Steed Bonnet sailed, or at least an artistic interpretation. I wasn't able to verify if it was like 100% an accurate picture of it, but it was basically a generic sloop that I drew. And I used that sloop and I kind of modified it at various points to make it look like other kinds of ships throughout the video. Like in this, I show this same ship in the distance with more cannons. and like a waterline lowered down a little bit to make it look more like a galleon. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time drawing all these different kinds of complex sail ships. But anyway, for this point here, where Johnny P. Rick gets his head blown off, I have a cannonball that I added a motion blur to and just moved it across the screen. And I wanted it to be, you know, like normally what I had done in the past in videos for violence is I kind of go a little bit overly gory with it. Because I think it's just funny when cartoons can get really gory. I don't know. I'm a little shitter, I guess. But here I thought it'd be really fun to make it kind of like Looney Tunes-esque. So I used a reference animation from a Tom and Jerry skit where I think Tom gets punched in the face and then his face kind of like pushes inward here. As you can see, like the folds of his skin is getting pushed in as the cannonball goes through his head, and then squeezing his head like an egg, just tearing it clean off his shoulders and shooting the blood out the back, just tearing it out while his like hat pops off comically. And then it just explodes into various, you know, shrapnels of brain matter and skull as this bandana is vaporized and then flies back. Just like a little shotgun blast of brain matter onto his crew behind him. And it's just like, I spent so much time making this like really funny, and you only see it for like literally like 5 frames, but it's so worth it. And you actually can't even see all of it. I realized afterwards when I put this, so like the ship is actually bigger than what you see here because I have it rocking, right? I can't like make the ship the same size as this canvas and then rock it because you would see, you know, there's like nothing above this. So I actually have a bunch of blood on a mast back here that I didn't realize until after I put it into the video that you actually wouldn't be able to see it. So you're missing a little bit of the animation, but you can still see the blood on like a little bit of the sail here. And yeah, I just wanted to have him just like stay standing in his pose. You can see like the little like Looney Tunes bone stump of where his, you know, neck and his vertebrae are. And yeah, so that was my intro, and I wanted to do a few things, right? I thought it'd be really fun to have a nice dramatic intro. Trying to do like a dramatic reading, and I hope that that was delivered well. I usually kind of have a different narration style where I try to go for more of like a whimsical, upbeat, happy, having fun with playing around with these stories and characters type of narration. But for this intro, I tried to be a little bit more dramatic with it, doing like fun different things like wordplay. Like I was particularly proud of this alliteration here.
Salty spray. Peg leg on weathered timbers. The splashing sea sent sparkling salty spray, showering the sun-soaked smiling sailor, accenting his striking pose like a badge of valiance.
So I wanted to have like a lot of really strong imagery and just like a lot of colorful writing for this narration, so that like if you were blind, you could listen to this and get the exact same effect from this video. You know what's really cool is I actually saw a comment, I think yesterday, where someone said that they were blind in watching my videos, which I thought was really cool. Like I had intended to write an intro that could be something enjoyed by all types of people, including people that are missing certain senses, like the sense of sight or the sense of hearing. You could still kind of like get a nice little like snippet of drama from it, right? But you all know I love to have fun with my words and my wordplay, and I always like to have alliteration and rhyme or whatever in my videos. I think it's fun to have fun with language and words and kind of challenge yourself to make, you know, like your video is a roller coaster. For me, I see my scripts and my dialogue as a roller coaster of flow and tone. And that's how I kind of like know whether or not it's written well or written shit. So I thought the intro came out really well. I'm really happy that it seemed to be very well received by you all in the comments. And then the last thing I wanted to accomplish was to kind of like open up the idea for people that watch the RedJay channel and watch my content, that I can do more than just silly jokes about historical events. I want to open up the door to eventually put different kinds of animations out on this channel. I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again. I plan on doing more types of content than just these videos where I'm talking about historical events. I plan on, eventually making full frame by frame animations of like original content, like, skits. I think of like, watching a Meat Canyon video or like something by Harry Partridge, like Dr. Bees. I want to make stuff like that eventually and put it out on my channel. So, like my own like scripts of original stories and dialogue, not narration, just kind of like full on animated videos. And so this is kind of like giving people a taste of that. And I can't remember, but there was like some comment that was around that I saw like early on when this video came out. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it again, but basically it said something along the lines of like, BlueJay's going to end up like posting full on animations at some point. And I'm like, exactly. That's what I'm trying to kind of get to. But yeah, I've talked about it before in director's commentaries. I eventually want to make different kinds of animations. And, this is kind of like me playing around with that. Still not exactly what I'm planning on doing in the future when I do like different kinds of animated content. Like I want it to be like more animated than just this, but working my way up to it. So anyway, that's enough yapping on about this little intro sequence. I'm just really proud of it. I had fun making it. It took a lot of time, but I think it came out beautifully, and I love my little boy Johnny here. So yeah.
His trial by iron and flame was one word: fire! While the adventurous tales of Bartholomew Roberts, Francis Drake, and Blackbeard paint a tantalizing picture of life plundering booty on the high seas, the gods of statistics and reality are always there to remind us that pirate life was much more likely to be as successful and abrupt as our little friend Johnny's here. As for every pirate who succeeded...
One thing I will say, sorry, I'm going to be pausing quite a bit. I thought I'd get like some comments of people complaining that I called
Francis Drake and Blackbeard,
Sir Francis Drake here, a pirate. But because he's kind of seen as like an adventurer, or like a privateer. But I think that a lot of people don't really realize privateers are just essentially pirates, but like they're given the thumbs up by a government. So like, he essentially is a pirate, all things considered, but I didn't get a single comment that I saw like complaining about that comparison. So sometimes, I'm not really good at guessing what people might get upset about. But, he's an example. These are examples of, like, pirates that I would consider common knowledge or more famous. I mean, I don't know if Black Bart Roberts would be, like, someone that you could get everyone to say that they've heard of. But, like, Francis Drake, people have heard the name, I'm sure. Blackbeard, people have heard the name, I'm sure.
Paint a tantalizing picture of life plundering booty on the high seas.
Cass's bird, so beautiful.
Are always there to remind us that pirate life was much more likely to be as successful and abrupt as our little friend Johnny's here. As for every pirate who succeeded in finding riches, there were dozens more who ended up as pathetic, wretched, miserable failures. Sometimes in many pieces.
Oh yeah, I wanted to make sure I added that like little disclaimer. Again, I thought I'd get kind of some shit about like showing people walking the plank. Because for like people that have like more than a very generic knowledge of pirate history would probably be able to tell you that walking the plank isn't really something that happened pretty much in kind of pirate history. It's something that has been reported a few times. I think there's kind of like one instance that's seen as more credible than most, but it's really, really rare. If it did happen, did not happen frequently, or it wasn't reported at all. Which, who knows? Like the dealing with like pirate history is it's hard just inherently because you're trying to tell the accurate tale of a bunch of criminals on a secluded ship with no outside accountability. Like you don't have people that can report on what's going on because they're in the middle of fucking nowhere on the ocean. So when things happen, it's not always super well reported, and kind of like a lot of where we get some information from is something like the diaries written by some pirates or court testimony from pirates that were eventually arrested, or one of the most primary sources of pirate history that we use today still as kind of like our foundational knowledge of the golden age, at least, of pirates, is a general history of pirates by Captain Charles Johnson. That's probably the most famous book on pirates ever, most influential for sure. It came out kind of, I think it was like the 1720s or 1730s. So kind of like right at the end of the golden age of piracy. And this book, while it gave like all the colorful descriptions of all the pirates we know and love today, including Steed Bonnet, who I'm going to be talking about in a second, was also known to really sensationalize aspects of pirate stories. So it's really funny because it's just like, it's on one hand a very trustworthy source because it talks about some pirate facts very accurately. Like you can trace down these facts all the way back to court documents where it's shown like undeniably this was the case. But then on the other hand, it'll just straight up make shit up at times to make it more entertaining to read. And this isn't helped by the fact that Captain Charles Johnson isn't a real person. That's a fake name used by an anonymous author that no one's been able to verify who they actually are. There's been like people and historians throughout history that think it's a certain author that wrote this book, but we don't know for sure, and that kind of pisses me off, not gonna lie.
That's right, we're talking piracy of the seafaring variety.
Nintendo
so
joke, haha.
And chase some parrot flocks because today we're gonna talk about
more
the
rhyming.
worst pirates
Gotta have
you've
it.
Never heard.
I had a lot of fun making this little like title here because I put like a little bandana on I drew some flintlocks and put it like crossed together under pirates. I stabbed this little fucking cutlass here through the end, and then a little skull. I don't know, I just want to make a pirate feeling, you know. This video, I've been wanting to make a pirate video for years now, man. I'm just so happy that I got to do it.
Heard of.
Yeah, so the Pirates of the Caribbean ride way back in the day, the one in Disneyland, California, used real skeletons. So like for those of you that have been, you know, you'll have like fake skeletons, and you like ride on a little boat through like this little river thing, and it's just kind of like a fun little like animatronic ride. And apparently it used to be really expensive and really hard to synthetically create fake bones from like various like rubbers and plastics. So because the Imagineers, the name for engineers at Disney parks, they decided because this didn't really satisfy what they were looking for a pirate themed ride, they just used real bones, which were cheaper and easier to get than fake bones. Kind of insane. They got rid of all those, but there's kind of like a rumor that really just seems like a rumor without any evidence that apparently there's still one real skull that is like apparently like too bolted down to easily take out by like a bed, I think was reported. I saw like some guy claim that his friend was like a coworker that like worked with this guy that could confirm that like it's like the real skull of like a former Imagineer that was still on the ride. There's a lot of like fucking folklore bullshit stories around this. I highly doubt any of it's true, just imagining like the headache it would be to secretly keep real bones on a Disney ride when you could just get pretty satisfactory ones these days from fucking Party City. No company is challenging. Disney of all companies doesn't need many more like hits to their reputation than they've already got. So I highly doubt there are actually real bones there, but hey, it wouldn't be the first time real bodies were mistakenly left at various entertainment places. So yeah.
Hey there, buddy, what you got there? A pilot ship? Oh wow, are those cannons? Yeah, I'm gonna be the most dangerous pirate on the 7 seas. Yeah, let me hear your best yarg. Yarg! Wow, that's awesome. Well, good luck. Dreams of sailing a cannon-packed pirate ship are fun and all, but it's not as fun as crushing those dreams in World of Warships.
I always gotta have some psychological damage in all my videos.
Tons of battleships, destroyers, and submarines that'll run circles around anything from the age of sail. With over 40 unique maps, dynamic weather, and top-notch graphics,
I really like
World
this
of Warships
cinematic.
delivers an authentic naval
The
experience.
full thing, I had to
that's
cut it short,
constantly
but the full
with
thing was
new
really
content
cool.
Releases to ensure things never get stale. But I know what you're thinking. Where's my spinach representation? Don't you worry, champ. They had a Popeye update just for you.
They
With over
did.
600 different giant slabs of metal to choose from, you'll never get bored flinging hypersonic metal shards at yet more giant slabs of metal. You can dive in as a lone wolf or in a team with your friends and conquer the high seas.
Dude, the water animation in this game, I love it. I love, like, water animations. That was actually a fun fact about, like, this is a really weird tangent. Civilization 5 is one of my favorite video games of all time, and I first played it on an old Mac laptop that I had, and then when I built my first ever gaming PC, I opened up Civ 5 on it, and I, like, cranked it all the way fuck up in graphical settings. My favorite thing by far that I couldn't get enough of was just how pretty, like, the water animation was at max settings. So I always love, like, cool water animation.
Not only PC, but consoles as well. So click the link in the description to download World
That
of
link's
Warships
right
today. And if
here.
you're
Oh
really
my
cool,
God.
Use my promo code BRAVO to receive a huge starter pack
Whoops.
with 500 doubloons,
I accidentally
1.5
clicked
million
something.
credits, 7 days of premium account time,
go there.
and a free ship after you complete 15 battles. Thank you, World of Warships, for sponsoring the
Thank
video.
you. Thank you, World of Warships. And thank you, Chick-fil-A, for sponsoring my
It's
satisfaction.
1717, the golden age of piracy, and Major Steed Bonnet set sail for the first time as a pirate captain. And also for the first time ever. There were numerous ways one could find themselves pirating during the golden age. Many were poor sailors, seized by dreams of riches and freedom. Others were normal sailors, seized by pirates for their riches and freedom. And some were seized by the Royal Navy before seizing command to seize riches and freedom.
Yeah, so basically, there were a ton of ways people can become pirates, right? But basically what I'm, like, kind of, like, hammering on there was, basically, piracy was kind of like a class, problem. I'm trying to think of, like, the right way to put it. But I wrote down my thoughts, which, fun fact, for those of you who cared to open them up, I always try to, like, add in detailed descriptions that are, like, more serious and down to earth in the like the bottoms of my videos here. So like, I had written down in here basically that let's see, I can read through it real quick, but the concept of the pirate life is one that has fascinated children and adult alike for generations. It's the idea of pure, unadulterated freedom, living free from the shackles of responsibility, regulation, and reality. On a lone vessel dancing along the waves of a vast ocean, the world is truly your oyster, and the possibilities are endless. This swashbuckling fantasy has been fueled time and time again by classics like Pirates of the Caribbean in the early 2000s, Treasure Island in the late 1800s, and A General History of Pirates in the early 1700s, which I mentioned earlier in this video. So considering how impactful the pirate genre has been on the greater populace, it might come as a shock to learn that our understanding of real pirate history is relatively meager. That last listed classic, A General History of Pirates by Captain Charles Johnson, remains one of our most primary sources for pirate history during the Golden Age, a novel which we know to have exaggerated and stretched the truth for sensational effect. While unfortunate, it does make sense that accurate recordings of true pirate history are scarce given the criminal and elusive nature of pirates themselves. One isn't really an efficient criminal by making their personal information as known as possible. Combine that with the fact that most pirates came from poverty and low social status, and the fact that many primary court documents have been lost to time, it makes sense that this history can be hard to accurately map and result in much speculation. In this video, much speculation must be made to connect the dots we have about Steed Bonnet's life, for example. Naturally, this can lead to inaccurate assumptions, so with that in mind, I tried my best to choose language carefully when telling this story. Take note of the numerous sentences initiated with "it's believed" for some insight into when speculations are made. So basically they're just saying that history of pirates aren't very well known, a lot of it is speculation, so ultimately, inevitably, there are inaccuracies in this video, but it's something that we can't help and we have to make if we want to try to, like, weave together any kind of coherent story. But the elusiveness of pirate history feeds into the fantasy. After all, these were criminals, and if we go back in time and ask them, we'd find many of them wouldn't choose this way of life if given the choice. The story of piracy is a story of class struggle, with rare exceptions like Bonnet aside, who was an aristocrat. The lowest rungs of society were the ones who populated the pirate ranks. poor sailors who lost their livelihood, impressment victims seeking freedom, privateers losing their state-backed support, and those with nowhere to turn but the sea were the ones who became pirates. It's a position born out of struggle and poverty, the same struggle that can be seen with the Somali pirates in the modern day. In essence, they are no different than the glorified pirates of the Caribbean. Disadvantaged victims of society merely doing what they can to survive. And that's kind of like a strong parallelism I really wanted to draw with this video. And again, I'm really kind of getting ahead of myself here, but at the end of the video I talk about Somali pirates. And it feels different, right? We think about these kind of pirates back in the day as like these really like romantic swashbucklers, right? They're really cool, they're savvy, they're having a grand old adventurous time. And then we look at Somali pirates in the modern day as just kind of like these little like these dirty criminals who are just like out for blood and for like terror, and like just nothing about it seems appealing. And that's because we're viewing them realistically, and we're not viewing these pirates realistically. We don't see this as a good life, because it's not a good life. You know, people don't want to have to be thieves on the high seas. These people that became pirates came from the lowest rungs of society, and so like I highlight with this guy here, who's just kind of like, he's a poor sailor who really wishes that he could have more freedom, more money. Times are hard. He has to turn to something. Piracy is something that is a viable option for him to survive. And then you have
by dreams of riches and freedom. Others,
you have instances where pirates
for their riches
kidnapped other sailors and forced them into piracy. This is something that happened actually quite frequently. So like when pirates would hijack a ship, people that occupied really desirable jobs on a ship, like carpenters or surgeons or cooks, they were usually forced into becoming pirates on their ship so that they could have carpenters and surgeons and cooks, because that's, you know, that's really important to have. So that was one way people became pirates. Obviously not a very desirable career change when you're forced at gunpoint into a job that you don't really want. And then
freedom. And some were
one of the most interesting ways people became pirates that I heard of was something called press gangs. Impressment was a practice that is most notably seen with the British Navy, where basically you would have press gangs that could go around and recruit people into the Navy by force. And usually that would be someone like a drunkard left out on the street early in the morning, or just poor people. They could be forced, you know, or homeless people could be just forced into Navy service for conditions that were ironically much worse than conditions working as a pirate, because, you know, you not only are you working on the high seas during time where, you know, everyone got scurvy and had to eat salted meat and dry biscuits, you also didn't get paid jack shit. You had no authority and no say over decisions made, and you were treated like absolute trash by people who you couldn't go to anyone else for accountability because, you know, you're on the fucking ocean. So this was one way people got into piracy. They would get forced into the naval service, and then people that weren't happy with their treatment on ships would then
seized by the Royal Navy before seizing
mutiny,
command to seize riches,
and then become pirates so that they could have some freedom. And because, you know, like with how their life has been so upturned, that it was an easy choice for getting into a new life, because it's hard to, like, you know, go from the Navy back to your home in fucking, I don't know, Wessex or whatever in the UK. Anyway, I'm only 3 minutes in and I already yapped my throat dry, so let me play it for a little bit.
and freedom. Bonnet, on the other hand, had an origin unlike most others, in that he did not come from mediocrity, but rather aristocracy. Steed Bonnet grew up in Barbados on a wealthy estate of over 400 acres of sugarcane fields, which he inherited at the young age of 6 after his parents passed away. Now, you might think growing up on a farm would build this sort of rugged...
Oh, you know, I keep pausing, but that's the point of this video. I spent a lot of time trying to get his hair looking good. I had a few different versions of his hair that were quite different in styles. Like I had one that kind of looked like more like a Bieber cut. I had one that was a little bit flatter and kind of like frilled up on the sides. And then my friend Venus helped me come up with this style here that kind of gave that nice like wavy, like flowy feel of like kind of like a hot boy or whatever. And I thought it was just kind of like a really cool, iconic hairstyle. And probably Steed Bonnet might be just dead ass my most favorite character design to date in a BlueJay video. I just really like his outfit, how that came out. I like his hair, how that came out. His shape, like the body shape and head shape, I think are just great. So yeah, that design I'm particularly proud of.
Just 6 after his parents passed away. Now, you might think growing up on a farm would build the sort of rugged and handy character necessary for swashbuckling piracy, but this is the 1600s. Okay, I know this looks bad. Yeah, 94 African slaves doesn't really scream tolerant. No, that's not fair. I have 3 whites as well. A socialite of society, charmer, a thing.
Basically, Steed Bonnet, he had 94 African slaves, and then 3 indentured servants. And I just remember reading that in a book about Steed Bonnet and thinking that it was just kind of funny. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, we have like 94 slaves, but we also have indentured servants, you know? So it's like, it's not all slaves. We have other sources of labor.
Tarts. Major Steed Bonnet was known to be a proper gentleman.
Yeah, he was very charismatic.
He got that from the Barbadian militia, which was essentially just a bunch of landowners who hunted down runaway slaves.
It's funny because this is dead ass a real map of Barbados from 1957 where they just show a guy running down slaves, which is just wild. Like I read about how in a book about Steed Bonnet about how the Barbadian militia was most likely just, essentially just a bunch of landowners who hunted down runaway slaves. And then, like, looking up imagery for how I could express this point, I expected to just find some, like, pictures of landowners, but I just straight up found a picture of exactly what I was trying to talk about. So that ended up working out very nicely. Now, it is also unknown whether or not he actually served any real military time. There were wars around this time that he could have participated in, but you know, he's in Barbados. The likelihood of that I think is kind of low, but we don't really know for sure. So there is a possibility that he actually did have some military service to really back up the fact that he had that Major Steed Bonnet title, which actually another fun fact that I didn't really ever mention in this video was he didn't really want to be called captain when he was a pirate. He preferred and asked everyone to call him Major Steed Bonnet. So he clearly really enjoyed that title and preferred it over being called a captain, which I think is interesting.
Said, with his wife and 4 kids, he was all set to cruise the lazy river equivalent of the good life.
Yeah,
but
one of his kids died at a young age
when he decided to take a detour. It's 8 in the morning. That can't be right. The life-sucking vampires would be back in their coffins by now. Yet instead, here you are, sucking down Madeira wine like it's the first job you've ever had. Well, Mary, I just thought it was about time someone did some sucking in this house. And it's pronounced Madeira. Oh, go down to the harbor if you want to gargle the Spanish so much. Portuguese, Mary! It's Portuguese! From the subtropical archipelago of Madeira, which, spoiler alert, is in the name. If you put half as much thought into this household as you do the bottom of a bottle, oh, here we go, then Mr. Peppers would still be alive. How was I supposed to know the dog couldn't tuck and roll? Because who launches a dog 60 feet in the air with a sugarcane trebuchet? He had a dream, Mary. What? A cherished aspiration or ambition. I know what a dream is. Then why'd you ask? Mr. Peppers died? Because I wasn't sure if I just heard the most ridiculous 5-word sentence in my life since I said, yes, I will marry you. That's just... You're a 5-word sentence! George, I swear to God, if you touch my wine glass, I will force feed you rose thorns. Sorry, sir. I also need you to go pick some rose thorns. Of course, sir.
Oh yeah, ad.
Is it the final vote?
that skit I had a lot of fun with. I really wanted to just like write some very just like over the top skit of essentially, I guess, like domestic dispute. I don't know if violence is the right word, but just yeah, like that whole thing was like what, like a full minute and a half long almost. I did get like I got like a handful of comments or something saying like, hey, BlueJay, love your videos, but I think just for a little constructive criticism, some of your skits can be a little long-winded. And I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I particularly like just like really well-woven dialogue of like a skit that just goes on for a long time. You can see that in all of my videos almost, going way back. I always have, or almost always have, some kind of like long skit or argument that lasts a long time. And it's because I find it really funny. Humor is subjective. That's something that I find funny. Not everyone's gonna find it funny, and I totally understand that. So if you don't find it funny, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're right. But I think that I think some people find it funny. I find it funny, and I want to add a little something for everyone, right? I have short skits, I have long skits, I have domestic violence, and I have just goofy death. So, you know, we got a little something for everyone in the skit department. But also, thank you for the subscribe, whoever. I missed your name. I'm so sorry. I'll go back to it after the director's commentary. But so just like some little fun facts about this skit. While I was writing this video, and a lot of people pointed this out actually in the comments, which I'm really happy with. I hope some people would get the reference. I actually I was watching through the entirety of Archer, the animated show on FX. And so I took some inspiration, and I wanted to have like an Archer style argument in this video. So that's kind of like a little like nod to Archer. It's very, so like this skit is very like similar to Archer and Lana, or Archer and Mallory, his mom, arguing in the show, where it's just kind of like a bunch of like witty back and forth banter about like stupid dumb shit where people like misinterpret each other's intentions. Like he goes like, "He had a dream, Mary." What? A cherished aspiration or ambition. I know what a dream is. That's like very Archer-esque. Like there will be like a lot of jokes in Archer where people will like say something and a person like goes like, "What?" or like, "What are you talking about?" And then they think that they're talking about something else, but she's actually, you know, like saying like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This dog had a dream." Not like literally like, "What is a dream?" So like that's like a little nod to it. Just like the whole like tone of this skit is very like Archer inspired. And then I wanted to have like a nice little nod to one of my favorite Archer jokes ever from the pilot, which here I can show you. Archer rub sand in your eyes. So at the end I have like the slave comes by and he's like, "George, I swear,
rose thorns.
George, I swear to God, if you touch my wine glass, I will force feed you rose thorns." And he's like, "Sorry, sir." He drinks his wine, then he just goes like, "I'm also going to get you some I also need you to get me some rose thorns." "Of course, sir." That's a very clear nod to this skit here.
It's a short list, Woodhouse.
Yes, sir.
The two things we don't allow in here, what are they?
Dogs and your mother.
That's a very short list, isn't it?
Yes, but
What?
you were quite
What was I?
insistent that an exception be made.
No, because forget the dog rule, because this pug is amazing. Watch this. Abigail, go. Do you not hear that? That's putting on the Ritz, man. I'm always insistent, Woodhouse.
Yes.
But I'm not to be trusted, am I?
No, sir, but...
Stop. Shut up. I have to go. But if I find one single dog here when I get back, I'll rub sand in your dead little eyes.
Very good, sir.
I also need you to go buy sand.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if they grade it, but... Of course.
It's like one of my favorite skits. I don't know what the fuck that like audio was in my right ear in the background, some shitty little YouTube clip, but it's like a nod to that little joke, and I got a lot of people that recognize that. And there's a few other parts in this video that are kind of Archer inspired a little bit. I wanted it to be my Pirate Archer episode. But yeah, also a lot of the stuff on this table here I actually pulled directly from actual history about Steed Bonnet. So one of the books that I read about Steed Bonnet talked about the type of food that he would most likely have enjoyed in his estate, which included stuff like roasted ham and fish, various other grape dishes. And then there was Madeira wine is actually Steed Bonnet's favorite wine. So like that was a literal wine that he actually enjoyed in particular. So that's kind of like where the skit stemmed from, was like an argument about him drinking his wine too much. So I try to like weave in historical accuracy to my skits, but obviously they're not to be taken as truth because I highly doubt this argument happened. And I also liked having like the kids' eyes like dart back and forth throughout the video, like looking at each other talking, just like a little detail that I had.
The dream is. Then why'd you ask? Mr. Peppers died?
They're just like looking back and forth with their parents arguing. But yeah, anyway. Yep. I know I'm yapping. I'm sorry. I love this video. I had a lot of fun with it.
Thorns. Of course, sir. In a very bonkers and Blue Jay approved midlife crisis, Bonnet decided to spontaneously abandon his life to become a pirate. Many sources claim it was because he was tired of his
That
nagging
picture is
wife's
like one of my
constant
favorite
yapping. Others
pirate
speculate
pictures
it was
ever.
due to the stress from having lost a child. And some theorize that the avid bookworm was captivated with wanderlust of the pirate life from the novels of the time.
Yeah, so there were, like, pirates were becoming already a little popular in popular culture, and it was said that Steed Bonnet was a very well-read individual. He loved books, and you'll see that later on, as evident by the fact that he chose to install a private library in his personal quarters of his ship. So that's one possible theory. We don't know exactly why he became a pirate. The common point, or like the fun reason that's often portrayed in like articles and stories, is that he was tired of his bitch wife, which, you know, maybe, but that came from A General History of Pirates by Captain Charles Johnson, who, as we've already established earlier, was known to flavorize and just make his, or sensationalize his stories about pirates. So he could very easily have made up that fact just to kind of make it kind of funny and make him look like more of an idiot. Like, yeah, he was tired of his bitch wife and her nagging, that he then decided to become a pirate. So, you know, it's a possibility. So I don't want to say it's not true. I'm just saying that the reasoning behind it isn't like super well sourced, but there isn't really a well sourced reason at all. There are theorized reasons, like his kid died, but that would have happened like years before he eventually became a pirate. There was, you know, books that made piracy kind of look kind of cool, and maybe he was bored. Other theories include the fact that he had taken out a loan right before he became a pirate, or like within like the year before he became a pirate, so he might have been experiencing financial troubles. I find that one a little hard to believe, because as a plantation owner, I think you have way more options to deal with financial troubles before you throw away your entire life to become one of the most gruesome criminal trades imaginable. I don't know. I find that one a little hard to believe. Like, you could start selling off your 94 slaves before you start, you know, putting your neck potentially on the line to steal some tobacco from Spaniards. Other theories that are interesting that I've heard theorized was that during this time, the Jacobite revolution, or the Jacobite movement, was in full swing, which was essentially, I don't want to get too much into details with Jacobites because I'm not super well researched into them, but essentially the Jacobites were a group of individuals who supported the exiled King James II and his descendants after the revolution in British history, so from the British crown. So people theorize that maybe he was a Jacobite, and then this like stirred political tension between him and his wife, because that was a very tense time for politics in British politics. So that's an interesting theory. People have also theorized that people like Blackbeard could have been Jacobites, as evident by other various facts about them that I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot of theories as to why he could have become a pirate. I think, I don't know what I think. I don't have like I don't have an accurate or like a well-believed reason. I genuinely do think someone could become bored enough and feel like they're the main character enough to want to do something like this if they find it appealing enough on paper. So maybe he was so bored. I don't know. You know, I read about him. I read many books. I read many articles. I read a lot of history, but you know, nothing really leads you to a definitive conclusion as to why he became a pirate. And there's just so much that we don't know. You know, we don't even know if he ever talked to his wife again after this. Basically, he had given away like all the rights to his property and like and the permission to run things, and instead to his friends and his wife before he left. So the fact that he gave permission to his wife, to me, indicates at least he loved her and trusted her enough to not fuck her over completely. So maybe he wasn't super pissed at his wife's constant yet nagging, but I don't know. Like, you can still be pissed at your wife and also still not want her to die homeless. I don't know, man.
But whatever the reason, I think it was pretty clear that our little Steed had a bee in his bonnet per se. So despite having literally no seafaring experience, he set off to kickstart his new career on the high seas.
Literally,
typically the first thing
literally had never been on a boat before, as far as we know, which is just amazing.
every new pirate had to do was steal a ship. But that sounded like a lot of poor people work to Steed, so he just bought one instead. After getting the other essentials like cannons, ammunition, and a private library in his personal quarters, all he had to do was wrangle himself up a crew.
So that's like another reason as to why I think it's hard to believe financial troubles were the reason behind him becoming a pirate. I mean, he could have taken out a loan, and I think there's evidence that he might have to purchase a sloop to become a pirate. But if he was truly poor, truly had a hard time with money, I would imagine you would just fucking steal a ship like every other pirate did. But then again, you know, he didn't really have a crew. He would have needed help, and but like, I don't know. I just think like the fact that he's had paid for a ship and also paid for a crew makes me think that money might not have been the reason for him.
Hello, good sir. You seem to be of the rather swashbuckly sort. How would ye like to join me pirate crew, yarg? Pirate? What, because of a parrot? That's kind of fucked up, man. What, it can talk? No. It just knows that one phrase. That's kind of unsettling. What, is your monumental ego threatened by the mere idea that something you see as just an animal could possibly be more intelligent than you? Or are you just surprised by the fact that someone told you no for the first time in your privileged life? Or perhaps is this reaction just an outlet for how unsettled you are at your own life circumstances as a whole, spanning from the obvious contention plaguing your marriage to the palpable insecurities encompassing your fostered resentment at the predetermined trajectory of your affluent life? Okay, maybe two. Brock? After
So I really like that skit. I had some people say that was their favorite skit, but that's actually kind of like another little nod to Archer, because they had a season where Krieger, one of the characters of the show, was a parrot, and one of the recurring jokes in that season was like a bunch of people saying like because he would just talk like a person, and it'd be like, your parrot can talk? And he's like, yeah, he's a parrot. Parrots can talk. Like, they just act like that was a normal thing that parrots could do. And so I wanted to have like a funny like parrot talking skit of my own. So that's kind of like where the idea of that skit came from. But yeah, I think I really liked my delivery at various lines throughout this whole video. I really think this is my best voice acted video to date. I think I'm getting better and more confident at doing character voices, and I just really think it came out well. I also, just the character design as a whole in this season, god damn it, this episode, I thought was really good. Or I really enjoyed it, like drawing, you know, like these pirates. I have like a red pirate, a blue pirate. I got the little like cloth belts and the belts and the fucking cutlasses and the going back into the foreground and the shit and the fucking, yeah, love the pirates in this episode.
gathering a crew, Bonnet kept up his tradition of breaking pirate tradition by paying them a salary from his own fortune, as opposed to the norm of just splitting shares of plunder. With all his boxes checked, the gentleman pirate snuck out of his home, out of the island, and out of a family that he would never see again.
Gotta make my trademark one really nice background, at least one really nice long shot background, so that I could use it in the thumbnail. But yeah, this is also one of my favorite backgrounds that I've done. I like what I did with the rock cliff face here and like the rocks in the ocean. There's more rocks back there that you can't see. It's covered up by the ship here. But all in all, I just really like this background. I think it came out looking pretty good. And I actually did it in record time too. Usually backgrounds like this take me a long time, but I think I'm getting better at drawing. And I think that helped me draw this one in pretty good time. Overall, it's not really super complicated, but I just think the colors are pretty. I wanted to have like nice blues and shit.
Adjusting to the pirate life aboard the Revenge would have been rather interesting for Bonnet.
Oh yeah, this is the actual render of the Revenge from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which Steed Bonnet was also in.
Of his usual lavish courses of veal, caviar, and gummy worms, which I only assume are staples of every wealthy man's diet,
they should be, damn it.
He would have had to settle for slabs of salted meat, dry biscuits, and whatever other critters they could scrounge up whilst plundering booty. Oh, how cute. I think I'm gonna call you Donatello, which isn't a reference for anything yet. No, it's not. That's good, but I think he's more of a bow staff guy.
This is a little dumb skit. I had like a couple of people in the comments kind of like critique me or correct me on this, saying like Donatello did have a bow staff, and I realized maybe the skit, like, it's a little like, it's media literacy is so dead, guys, so I'm sure most people got it. It's not like a super knee slapper skit or anything, just a little silly one. But basically, if I really need to spell it out in case it didn't make sense, which maybe it's not clear enough, they caught a sea turtle because they were going to eat it. Steed Bonnet thought they were going to keep him as a pet, and then like playingly made fun of the fact that there's a famous turtle from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles called Donatello, and was like, I'm gonna call you Donatello, which isn't a reference for anything yet. No, it's not, because it's the 1700s and fucking TMNT hasn't released in, you know, like it's coming out in the next few hundred years, it hasn't come out yet. And so then the camera zooms out.
No, it's not.
And he sees a pirate with a cauldron over logs here, ready to obviously cook up something, holding a butcher knife, looking at the turtle, obviously as if he's ready to cut up and kill the turtle. Steed Bonnet looks at him, sees the fucking butcher knife here, and then laughs and goes like, that's good, but I think he's more of a bow staff guy. Basically saying like, haha, yeah, it would be funny to give him a knife, but I think we should give him a bow staff instead, because again, Donatello had a bow staff. It's a stupid bit. It's really not that big of a deal. And did you just give me bits right as I said bit? No, you gifted 10 subs? Holy shit. Wait, thank you so much. Thank you for the gifted subs. Oh shoot, what's your name? Where's my alert box? What the fuck? Multi-streaming's hard. Binor the Drunk Dwarf. Thank you. Very kind of you. Yeah, thank you for the support. Sorry, that just threw me off for a second. But yeah, that's the bit. It's simple, it's dumb, but it confused some people, and you know, sometimes I think like bits can be a little bit of a stretch, and this one might have been. So, yeah.
That's good, but I think he's more of a bow staff guy. The pirates started their hunt around the east coast, where they found some success at first, capturing a handful of ships without a fight and releasing them after they were debootified. Except for the Barbadian ones, which, in order to
I like
keep
the
ward of
crying
its activities
ship
from
here.
reaching
It's a
home,
little crying
he burned
face.
to the ground. Even with them.
That still makes me laugh. I just thought it'd be really funny to like
Burn to
have
the
Steed
ground.
Bonnet just being like a psychopath with this like burning scene going on, while his like crewmates looking at him like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are we doing this? And then he giggles, which is also another fucking Archer reference. Holy shit, that's 3 now. Basically, like Archer is kind of like, his character is very like lighthearted, half-ass, doesn't take much seriously. He's an asshole, and just kind of like laughs at a lot of shit. And so like here's like Steed Bonnet being Archer-esque again with this little psychotic giggle as he's burning down the ship to the ground, which rubbed some people the wrong way in the comments. They're like, don't you mean to the sea floor? Motherfucker, the sea floor is still the ground. There's just water on top of it. Fuck you. The ship still burned down and then went to the ground. God, you guys are, not you guys, but some people just are like nitpicky on everything. Ugh. Your videos are extremely well done, and your passion deserves some recognition. Thank you so much, dude. God, you made my day. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Oh, also this like flame. This is kind of hard to do. Someone asked me like right before the stream started if I ever played with I think color correction or like filtering. Basically, I had to play around with various like lighting color corrections and added the changes to timestamps to kind of like give this flickering effect. And then I also made a very, 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 very minorly opaque flame layer on top of this, but alpha locked it to just the like foreground here, so like you only see it on top of this like the ship front here, the railing in their faces kind of like moving to add like a little bit more of like a changing of light value to make it look like there's something burning in front of them. It was kind of harder than I thought it'd be, getting this to like look right. It was very hard. I had to keyframe individually the flickering values to make it seem chaotic and random enough so that it would be a believable fire. So it's like the little things like that you don't expect to take a lot of time that end up taking a lot of time. But yeah.
Even with a profitable start, Bonnet's inexperience really started to shine in these encounters, and the crew began to lose what little respect they had for the gentleman pirate.
So, damn it, I almost paused it perfectly. That's a Steed Bonnet in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Again, I mentioned that earlier. But then, as you all know, I have hidden in all of my videos ever since my Victorian London video a Blue Jay coin. And basically, whoever is the first person to find the Blue Jay penny and tell me where they found it with proof, then they get a special role in my Discord server called Penny Hunters, the exclusive club of the first people to find the penny in the newest Blue Jay video. It was found in record time this time, like within the first like few minutes. Someone pinged me and said where the fucking penny was. It's right here. It's hidden in this like little treasure chest. I tried to make it harder to find, but I was going to make it like much smaller and more like hidden behind this. But I'm like, I don't want it to be too hard. I want people to find it. But someone found it right off the fucking bat, dude. I clearly did not hide it well enough. So next time, you fuckers are not gonna find it for like a week. I'm gonna make that shit so fucking hard to find. It's gonna be like 2 pixels wide. And I'm gonna keep this role just for one special individual to finally get after like 2 years. I'm making it hard. So you guys better be on your A game. Because damn, I don't know. I thought that was like kind of hard to find. But nope. People were like, yep, it's right there. It's right there. 806. Fuck you. But not fuck you. Like, good job. But yeah, so just keep that in mind going forward into my next videos. I always try to hide a penny. A Blue Jay penny, which I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a penny with Blue Jay on it, and it's got, actually, here, let me just like pull it up real quick. So if I go to like Blue Jay Victorian Victorian era, not reaction, I don't want to see any of that shit. Why didn't it come up right away? So in this video, I first drew it for when I was talking about like the 4 penny sit-ups, 2 penny hangovers, and all that shit. We'll wait for this ad to go away. So like right around right here. So this is what they look like, these little pennies, and I hide them in all my videos. Man, I used to, shit, look at this line quality. I do so much better drawing now. Like, I would never let a building like this slide in a current Blue Jay video. These lines are just so bad. Or like this circle here is not even a good circle. Who was I? Anyway, back to the content.
But hopefully, all that was about to change as they spotted a massive Spanish merchant ship on the horizon and raced interceptor with their Jolly Roger raised high. This is it, Peter, the big score. Set the blowy sheets to max and let's get this booty, yarg. Blowy sheet. Full sail. The men say full sail. Sorry, and these men pay your salary? Blowy sheets to max, men! Davy Jones, that's no merchant vessel. It be a Spanish man of war.
I mean, Peter, come on. We've all dabbled in red light districts.
What? Not a man of whore, man of war. Listen, I'm not one to judge, but if you're into being eaten, just don't do it on company time. No, not man of war, man of war. Cortez himself, he's here? What? How did you get conquistador? The pirate.
It's one of my top like 2 or 3 skits in this whole video. I really like it, but I don't know. I just thought it was funny having him like misinterpret him saying man of war for all these other things that rhymed with war. And then also the blowy sheets. I don't know. I find that sometimes I write my favorite skits where I just like start typing and seeing where the words take me. I don't really have a plan from the get-go on any of them. But I knew that I wanted to have like man of whore, and then like just having like, come on, we all dabbled in red light districts. We don't need to judge them. And then like Man of Vor, which I was a little scared to like make a Vor joke because rightfully so, because I had like someone comment like, oh, Blue Jays in the Vor, so cool, and I'm like, no. Some people are really bad. Let me tell you, some people are really bad at like distinguishing what a character's opinion is from like the author's opinion. Just because I have a character say something, and I'm gonna get into this later because there's another thing that I had people comment about, some bullshit. Just because a character says something doesn't mean Blue Jay, me personally, believes that thing. And it's even funnier in this instance because he said like he reacted to him thinking he said Man of Vor with disgust. So if anything, you should think I don't like Vor, which for the record, I'm not into Vor. I don't know if I need to say that, but I'm gonna say that because some people just need that like hammered in. I'm just gonna put that out there. But yeah, this whole skit I thought would be really funny, just having like a seasoned pirate veteran. I just wanted to highlight like the comical kind of like interpretation of what I think life would be like on Steed Bonnet's ship. Like you'd have him just like fucking around having fun as a pirate, and then like everyone else is just kind of like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, blowy sheets? What the fuck? We say full sail. But yeah, anyway, I really like that skit. If I had more time, one thing I would have changed.
He's here? What? How did you get conquistador?
I really wanted to. I was first drawing this, where I had a cannonball. Just back it up a little bit. Let me back it up a little bit. Black it up a little bit. I would have had a cannonball come through like the side here, explode this barrel, the shrapnel would have exploded and pierced both of these pirates, Peter and Steed here, and then I would have frame by frame showed them being like flung to the side injured because they didn't die, they were injured. That, as I was getting into it, would have taken, or was taking me a lot of time. I was really strapped for time in this video. I was working from something like 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. or like 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. just waking up and sleeping, just animating this all the way through to get it done on time. And I was still late by a little bit. And that's kind of my fault because I made the deadline for this video like half a year ago. So I would have put in the effort to do that, but you know, I instead settled for, okay, I'm just going to draw a frame where they're on the ground injured and then just put an explosion effect to, you know, just highlight that there was a fucking cannon shot there. So, like, you know, I wish I could do my original vision, but I still think that this was really funny. Yapper alert. I know, I'm sorry. I guess, you know, if you want me to stop yapping, you could just donate like $50 and maybe we can just kind of like keep the show rolling. You know, that's my price. I hope you don't do that.
The pirates quickly realized they weren't facing a merchant vessel packed with luscious amounts of shiny metal, but a Spanish man of war packed with scary amounts of deadly metal. The ambitious hunt turned into a rapid retreat as the Revenge scurried off faster than Bonnet left his family, but not before the man of war made the sky a lot more inclusive of the periodic table, killing and wounding half of Bonnet's men, including the big man himself.
These elements are basically just like things you can find in Cannonball. So like cast iron has iron, carbon, and silicon in it, and then like there's also lead cannonball, so I just like threw up some like elements, but yeah, just the joke, the sky's a lot more inclusive of the periodic table. I thought it was just a really funny way to explain a fuckload of cannonballs being shot from a man of war at the Revenge as it scurried off. This whole story was really funny. I don't see it talked about a lot when people like tell the story of Steed Bonnet, at least in like various articles I read. I don't know about YouTube videos. I try to never watch YouTube videos on topics that I want to make videos about, so I don't get influenced or like do anything similar to what other people have done. And also because I just don't trust a lot of YouTubers to say things completely accurately, which is kind of sad because I try to make everything as accurate as possible. But you know, people make mistakes, and YouTubers are very susceptible to making mistakes, just given the fact that a lot of the times it's like someone like me who's just one guy doing everything, so I don't have like peer review, which is why I always say don't fucking cite my videos on research papers that you're writing for university. Do your own research.
After their escape, the Revenge sailed towards the pirate sanctuary of Nassau, where Bonnet would get to network with his new co-workers per se, a task our gentleman pirate was well accustomed to. Just like white-collar networking events, the biggest criminals stood out the most, and Bonnet found himself making friends with none other than Edward Teach himself, iconic for his rather dark and fuse-filled facial hair, a Blackbeard, if you will.
I just want to make a little jab at Elon Musk. I don't know if I'm getting tired of using Twitter, but man, he's just gotten so fucking annoying. Just like saying shit all the time. But you know, I like to watch his descent into madness. He used to be a dude who posted shitty memes, and now he won't stop talking about conspiracies. You gotta love seeing it, you know? It's just kind of like, it's just fun.
That's right, the arguably least experienced pirate in history.
Oh shit, okay, so I forgot. Sorry for all the pauses. I had my script pulled up because I had made notes on it of things that I specifically wanted to talk about in the director's commentary, and I forgot to talk about some things. So real quick, just doubling back for like a second, when I talked about him purchasing a ship, for going out on his pirate escapade instead of, you know, the norm of stealing a ship. So he actually was rather smart about it. So he purchased a sloop, which is actually the favored type of pirate ship. You know, a lot of people like to think pirate ships are like these really grand, big warships with fuckloads of guns and like firepower and all that. But that's not really what you want with a pirate ship. What you want with a pirate ship is something that's fast, nimble, that can quickly approach ships and quickly get the fuck away from ships.
First thing every new
let me
pirate
show
had to
you
do
real
was
quick.
steal a ship, but that sounded like a lot of poor people work to Steed, so he just bought.
So like this is the sloop, like a picture of the sloop that he bought based off of an artwork that I saw. So this basically suggests that he probably had a good idea of what kind of pirates, what kind of ships pirates gravitated towards from his reading at the time. Now, a very common way to portray Steed Bonnet is this like absolute dumbass, like idiot who didn't really know anything and was just kind of going like la 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 la, I want to be a pirate and shoot guns and steal shit. But you know, we don't really know how accurate something like that was. It's just because the like series of events of his life make him seem rather silly, going from plantation owner, rich, well-respected gentleman of an island to pirate. While he certainly was rather silly with his decisions, which I think is just undeniable by the series of events here. You know, it doesn't mean he's like completely void of any kind of merit. So the fact that he chose a ship that was something that was notable for being a good choice for pirates, and then also hired a crew to help man the ship, and also gave them a salary so they would feel, you know, theoretically rather attached to having him as a captain as opposed to someone that's easily like disposable, shows that maybe he put in more thought than some like clickbaity BuzzFeed type articles give him credit for. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. And then let's see. So yeah, like I mentioned, that he could have paid them a salary to prevent his crew from outing him as a captain. And then there's something else I wanted to talk about real quick. So I show right around after this skit.
Brock? After gathering a crew, Bonnet kept up his tradition of breaking pirate tradition by paying them a salary from his own fortune, as opposed to the norm of just splitting shares of plunder. With all his boxes checked, the gentleman pirate snuck out of his home, out of the island,
right here,
which I only assume are staples.
Damn it, I went too far.
The Revenge would have been.
Okay. Here we are. So this is Ubisoft's depiction of the Revenge. And one thing I wanted to talk about real quick, just like a little side story, was that Ubisoft has actually done some pretty neat things in the past for their research for Assassin's Creed games. Ubisoft gets a lot of shit, deservedly so in some instances, for poor game design and just predatory microtransactions and all that fun jazz. But they've also done some really, really cool things, because there are passionate people at Ubisoft, which is evident by the fact that one thing that they did was, for the game Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, they funded the genetic reconstruction of a pirate's face from DNA that they had, an 18th century pirate called Amaro Pargo, who I will look up now. Amaro Pargo, whoops, I don't know what I clicked there. I don't want to shop for him. Can't do that anymore. see, Ubisoft DNA. So basically, here's a Reddit post that's trustworthy. So in order to promote Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Ubisoft funded the exhumation, DNA testing, and facial reconstruction of famous 18th century pirate Amaro Pargo, which I think is really cool. They actually spent the money and resources to fund genetic research on a pirate so that they can try to get like an accurate facial construction and model of this guy for Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Just a fun fact, you know, like just like something kind of like that they didn't have to do, but they did, to put in that extra effort to make something historically accurate for their game. Of course, you know, part of it is PR and trying to sell the game more, showing that they did something cool like DNA reconstruction. But I still think, you know, regardless of the fact that they get brownie points from like the public for doing it, I still think it's cool that they did it at all. So I just kind of wanted to like bring up that little fun fact. And then did I miss any other? I don't think I missed any other little notes here, so I'm gonna go back to where we were. Sorry about that, guys. We were about right here.
Other than Edward Teach himself, iconic for his rather dark and fuse-filled facial hair, a Blackbeard, if you will. That's right, the arguably least experienced pirate in history struck up a bromance with one of the most notorious pirates of all time.
You know, a fun fact about Blackbeard too, he's often depicted as like this old, like grizzled, like wise pirate guy who's just like a mastermind from experience and all that. So like you see him in like Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, portrayed as like this, you know, like this old like wise, you know, individual. But you know, he was actually like in his 20s 30s when he was like a pirate. You know, people believe that he died either in his like early 30s or like late 20s or mid 30s. We don't know for sure, but he was young. He wasn't like this old grizzled captain that we always see in pop culture depictions of him. So just fun fact, yeah, he was like a young guy, but apparently he had a fucking wild beard, and we do know that because there's many accounts stating that he had a crazy beard and stuck fuses in it potentially.
While the early details of their relationship are speculative, we do know that the two captains agreed to sail together. However, with Bonnet's captaining skills being about as competent as his parenting ones, Blackbeard quickly caught on to the man's lack of seafaring expertise and hatched up a plan. Alright, so just hang out in ye quarters here and let me worry about the captaining.
I like his little fuses here.
I mean, I kind of feel like a lazy prisoner though. No, think of it as an apprenticeship. You're gonna be learning the most important part about being a pirate, yarg. Low-risk plundering tactics? Yarg, spot on, matey. And you can learn with this. Monopoly? There be no better way to learn theft than capitalism, matey. Okay, and should I also start sticking lit fuses in my hair? What? Oh, shit. Wow, that could have been bad. I swear they have a mind of their own. They do. Anyway, to work with ye. Pirating be tough work, fit for only the strongest men. Sir, you're, missing ice cream time. You better have saved pistachio.
I don't know why it'd be so funny to just have him as being like a dude who's just like really into ice cream. Just a little goofy little thing I had there. But I had mentioned it earlier, people failing to separate the thoughts of characters from the author. I had Blackbeard make a joke that was like, there be no better way to learn theft than capitalism, matey. And so many people were like, what the fuck do you have against capitalism? Like, Blue Jay's a commie or a tanky, but I guess I'll still watch him. Or like, ew, I can't believe you're a tanky, Blue Jay, what the fuck? And I'm like, dude, what the Blackbeard said that shit, not me. First of all, it's just funny to make fun of any economic system. I don't care what it is, but just saying like capitalism is theft or like communism is just like starvation, like all these like different types of like critiques that are popular, it's just funny, man. Why can't people just make fun of the shit that they're a part of? I like to poke fun at America and capitalism, even though I'm a part of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm like, yeah bro, Joseph Stalin was the GOAT. Like, I'm never going to like get into my political beliefs in detail in anything because I don't know, I just don't think that's something I want to do. But I'm not like making some kind of crazy anti-capitalist statement here. I'm just making a stupid fucking joke, and it's so funny because like no matter what you say, people will always draw their own conclusions, and it's unavoidable. And I'm not gonna like compromise the comedy or like the vision of what I'm trying to write to appease people who just have zero media literacy. But yeah, I mean, the reason I had him make that joke is that kind of like inherently piracy is seen as kind of like an anti-capitalist like movement in a sense that kind of like spawns piracy. It's very anti-capitalist, it's very socialist actually, and communist, because you know often shares of plunder is split throughout the entirety of the crew evenly. Some people like the captains and quartermaster get greater shares because of their greater workload, but you know it's kind of seen as like anti-capitalist in a way. So I thought it'd be fun to have him make a joke at like poking fun at capitalism, because you know like that's kind of like what they are. They're like anarchist groups of like equal democracy. I guess not anarchist. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just throwing out buzzwords at this point, but yeah, like it's just like a little joke that I had him made. So it wasn't like supposed to be some kind of like political statement that a good number of people took it as. Definitely not at all. I think most people understand Blackbeard said that, not this blue jay down here in the corner with a talking PNG. I'm never gonna give you economic advice. Just know that. I will make jokes and put my opinions through critiqued subtext in my videos, sure, because inherently everything has bias. But I'm not gonna fuck you, man. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that wasn't my opinion. That was Blackbeard's opinion. Oh, what else was I gonna say about this skit? Yeah, his ice cream thing, I just thought was kind of funny. Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet were probably actually like legitimate friends during this time. I know it's kind of like portrayed as like Blackbeard completely taking advantage of Steed here. I think he was taken advantage of for his resources, because at the time Steed's ship was better equipped and bigger than Blackbeard's ship. So it was a very favorable setup for Blackbeard, who was at this time kind of like an up-and-coming guy. He wasn't like the legend that we would come to know him as later. He was getting a start. No one really knew his name. So this arrangement was good because it just doubled up Blackbeard's overall manpower, and also gave him kind of like this, just like some good resources, a good ship, a good crew. But, you know, given by the fact that he didn't throw Steed Bonnet overboard or like get rid of him and let him stay in his personal quarters and literally just chill and enjoy the fruits of his ship's labor, is a sign that they actually did have a true friendship, because it would have been so much easier, more profitable to just kind of like fucking get rid of Steed and take his ship and his crew, who would rather probably have worked with a more experienced sailor than this fucker right here. So yeah, but yeah, that was like this little skit, and I had like a little fun. It was just a fun little skit. Anyway,
You better have saved Pistachio. Blackbeard persuaded Bonnet to give up command of his ship and become just a measly
little passenger
aboard it,
princess.
a change that was definitely a relief for Bonnet's crew. The Revenge found a good deal of success under Blackbeard, all whilst Bonnet kind of just hung around.
You notice any little treasure here that the pirates may have gotten? Oh no, is that the limited edition U2's Blue Jay plushie 9-inch? That was famously on sale a month ago? Oh my god, it is. Look at that. Look at all this success these pirates got. They were so successful, they were able to take a time machine to get the Blue Jay plushie exclusively before anyone else in our timeline. That's crazy. You know, I don't write the history books, guys. I just tell it for you. I was amazed to hear this fact, as you all are now. So, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I had to include it in the video, obviously. And they, without a doubt, waterboard this thing. Yeah, for sure.
Awkwardly, like an engineer in, well, pick a social setting. Day after day, Bonnet's command
Engineer's
felt more
awkward.
artificial
Get
than
it?
a Call of Duty code of conduct. But he felt past the point of no return in his pirate life, and even confided in some crewmen that he was tired of it, and would gladly leave it all behind to live life anew in Spain or Portugal.
Oh, for the people asking in chat, May, June timeframe is when those plushies are expected to ship. They get all the orders to see how many people want them, and then they start making all of them. But yeah, thank you all, by the way. That I guess I didn't mention it last time. That campaign was very successful. You two said that I performed better than they expected, actually, for a channel my size. So really happy you guys were excited and liked the design, because it seemed like a good number of you guys enjoyed it. So thank you for the support. It was really cool. I love that little guy. I had so much fun making that ad.
A few weeks later, according to some versions of the story, Blackbeard would get a new flagship and separate from Bonnet after reinstating him as captain, sailing through the Bay of Honduras.
Yeah, that was his iconic Queen Anne's Revenge that he's known to, like, he's famous for later on, that he would acquire and then leave. And like this, I say according to some versions of the story because different versions say different things. Like the timeline of when they were together and separated and back together again and separated again is kind of like a little up in the air. I went with the most believable story from my own research, but just know that there are different versions that say different like series of events, but ultimately the major plot points are the same.
Bonnet and his men soon found themselves face to face with a new prize. A massive 400-ton, 26-cannon merchantman, the Protestant Caesar. A score too attractive for
bloodborne
Bonnet
boss
to let
bar.
slip by. Having much more combat experience than his run-in with the Man of War the year prior, Bonnet closed the distance, cut behind his prey's stern, and opened fire. Bonnet lost the cannon fight and retreated into the night with his timbers thoroughly shivered, leaving his crew to grow ever more resentful towards their gentleman captain who just couldn't seem to catch a break. After making port, they just so happened to run into Big Daddy again, who proposed Bonnet be
This was such a dumb little... I was just like drawing up this part of the video, and I was like thinking through the lines in my head, like after making port, and I'm like, Portillo's. Am I actually doing this? And then I took like a picture of the logo of Portillo's and just like cropped it off screen so it just said port, so that all my Midwest fans could like look at this and be like, oh my god, Portillo's fucking love their shit, bro, and then like type up like that they love it in the comments and they love that little Easter egg. So I had like a lot of people, I'm sure like no one, like there's a good number of people who just didn't know what the fuck this was. Like they're like, hot dogs beef, what? Because like, you know, like East or like West Coast doesn't have Portillo's. I don't think East Coast does either. So I don't know, I just thought it was like, I like to do dumb shit like that from time to time. Oh, hey, Stellar J, welcome to the chat. By the way, after you're done watching my director's commentary here, or now if you're getting bored, you guys should all watch the Stellar J's most recent video. He made a pirate video game video. What? Oh my god, around like the same time as me too. And guess what? I do some lines in it. That's crazy, bro. It's actually really good though. He makes a really good analysis on the state of pirate gaming. So he'll talk about Black Flag. He talks about Skull and Bones a little bit, and he talks about some other really goated games like Sid Meier's Pirates. So that's his video in the chat right here. Make sure to check it out. Show him some love because it's actually one of my favorites of his. And I love pirate gaming, and I really hope to see it revived one day to its former glory.
replaced by a new captain named Richards, a proposal Bonnet's crew wasted no time in accepting. Having once again lost command, Bonnet was back to being a puppet, challenging Elmo's record for the longest time spent with a hand up their ass. Fast forwarding a little bit, because believe it or not, there are other pirates I want to talk about, both Blackbeard and Bonnet decided to surrender themselves for a pardon, the latter taking—
Man, I was about to write a whole other ass section of this guy's story right here, and I remember looking down at my script and seeing I'm on page like, oh man, what was it, like 8 or 9, and I'm like, ooh. My original plan included many other pirates that I wanted to talk about. I planned on talking about 3 pirates in particular in some pretty good depth, and then throwing in Somali pirates at the end. Steed Bonnet's story from start to finish was entertaining to me. I couldn't find parts that I wanted to just cut out. I think all of it was necessary to tell. Honestly, dude could have had his own independent video, but I chose to do a little you know, like multi-story video, and I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. I wanted to show the parallel between piracy in the Golden Age and piracy in the modern age with Somali pirates, showing that while we have very different visions of these like eras of piracy, we view pirates in this time as like the fun like Pirates of the Caribbean, swashbuckling, sexy guys, versus pirates in the modern age as like dirty criminals that we don't like and we find disgusting. And it's really sad because they're essentially the same, and they're both from like disadvantaged backgrounds and low social status, and there's really not much difference there. But anyway, here I am drinking my Yappuccino again. That's essentially why I made it into a multi-story video. I had to keep the Somali pirates in, but I think I say it right here.
A small boat to a town in North Carolina to do so.
Oh, never mind.
In 1717,
It'll be later.
King George I was getting real fed up with the amount of swashbuckling and debootification plaguing the high seas. So, being the buzzkill that he was, he issued a proclamation that provided any pirate who surrendered themselves a one-time pardon for all their various piratey crimes. Therefore, any and all pirates, scallywags, and or marauders who surrender thyself before the 5th of January in the year of our king 1718 shall be pardoned one time only for all their crimes. All crimes, you say? Including the most heinous. Does that include stabbing Spanish people? Yes. And all other peoples as well. I don't want a pardon for the French ones. What about eating stolen sushi with a knife and fork? The king will forgive you, but I can't say God will. How about the smearing of copious amounts of butter on doorknobs and or floors to make people sticky? That's not a crime. That's just weird. But what if... Now here's an example of said proclamation in action, as I will now pardon myself for the murder of that little shit. Now I trust you're all done wasting my time. You said you only get one pardon. Now, is it a good idea?
There's actually a lot of fun stuff about that skit. That's actually probably my favorite skit in the whole video. It still cracks me up watching it. But there's a lot of stuff here. So one of the jokes that I have here, actually, I got help with because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to have this guy say to be like, the king will forgive you, but I can't say God will. And so I asked some of my friends who I found really funny. And actually, he was in chat, the Stellar J, he helped me out with this specific joke here.
Yes, and all
right
other
after
peoples
this
as well. I don't want a pardon for the French ones. What about eating stolen sushi with a knife and fork? The king...
I gave him the, like the skit with that part blank, asking like, hey, do you have any ideas for like what kind of like weird crime that's like not that bad, like, but just kind of like people would hate you for it, you know, like using toilet paper the wrong way. And he gave me like a big list of like really funny joke ideas, and I ended up going with only one of them, but he had like a lot of other bangers there. So I actually like, I thanked him in the description a little bit, which I probably I couldn't figure out how to tag people. It's not working for me, but he helped me out with that. So props to the Stellar J for helping me write this joke. I find that I really liked my facial expressions for this guy throughout this skit, and my voices for these characters I had a lot of fun with, especially this guy right here. I actually kind of imitated the voice of my DM for a D&D game that I play that he does for a certain character, because I find it really funny. Yeah, I really like this skit as a whole. And there's actually one other part here that I tried to take extra care with. So I could have easily done what I do for many other... Sorry, there's people like screaming outside. I don't know if you can hear them. Usually what I do for gunshot effects is I just like show like a muzzle flash PNG for like a frame or two. But for this one, because it's a flintlock that this guy pulls out, I'm like, you know, like a little like 9mm muzzle flash isn't really gonna cut it. And also, I kind of want to have fun with it. I've just got done thinking about how I want to do this animation at the beginning of the video, this cinematic opening, which I hadn't done at this point, but I was thinking about how like I wanted to do all these like different fluid animations for it. And gas is just essentially a fluid. It behaves like a fluid in the air. And so I thought it'd be fun to, play around with like a little fluid animation and actually frame by frame animate the muzzle flash and consequent smoke blast of like getting shot. And why can't I get to the goddamn frame? I'm like skipping.
That's not a crime.
Oh, it's
just weird. But what if...
So I drew each individual one of these frames for the gunshot here. So, oh, you can see like the first one right here. As he pulls the trigger, the hammer comes down. You get a little spark. That spark then gets a little brighter as you see some smoke blast out of various escape points of the essentially the piece of flint that comes down and strikes the striker to ignite the little pouch of black powder that then ignites, obviously. And you get a little smoke blast from the ignition here, and then that flash dissipates as it becomes more of a smoke cloud, as then you get the fire blast from the black powder igniting inside the barrel of the gun, expelling the bullet, which I didn't choose to draw because I thought, you know, it's going fast enough, I don't need to draw it. And then you have this gas becoming more dissipated, less opaque as it moves forward along with the flow of the air and the wind. And then you have the smoke coming out of the barrel here as you get like a bigger plume of a cloud here with various like levels of opacity and just various like accenting lines. And then you have like this little thing is in the fucking way here, but you have the bullet hole with the blood being expelled a little bit, but you know, most of the blood would be coming out of the back of the head, so there's not much on the front as he's then blown off the screen. Oh yeah, his arm went up with the recoil there. The smoke cloud continues to go out and dissipating. The smoke cloud from the ignition also goes out and dissipates. And then the blood eventually falls to the ground in a nice little pile. But I just wanted to like frame by frame animate that. And then I did the same thing right here.
Ah, you said you only get one pardon.
I just love this skit so much, the timing. Yeah, I just came out looking so good. I really liked it, especially that specific frame here with like how the cloud comes out. I actually had looked up some videos from some really nice animators on explosive animations, partially from my original intent with that one skit earlier. I talked about how I wanted to draw the frame by frame explosion of this barrel as opposed to using an explosion video effect. So I used what I learned from that process and actually applied it on a smaller scale here because I had enough time to do it. So the Flintlock again ignites. I also watched some YouTube videos and people just shooting Flintlocks to see how they would, you know, flow. And yeah, again, these frames are like the same as before. This frame is different though because it would have been cut off on this side. I can't just use the same frame again. So these are new drawings. I had like, you know, like the smoke cloud is coming out. The bullet is already hitting him here. And then the smoke trills up with the recoil of the gun. And you don't see it here because it is going fast enough coming out of the barrel because it's a low area hole. So the velocity is greater than when it comes out into the air. See, you know, I say that I threw away my chemical engineering degree by going into this line of work, but I shit you not, animation has so much math and science behind it, it's crazy. Just for a little taste of it, watch Corridor Crew. They're a bunch of animators and visual effects artists that talk about in detail how you can make animations look more realistic by just applying some general physics knowledge, and understanding fluid dynamics. So like there's various things that you can do to like make your animations just look better, even if you're not the greatest artist of all time, just by following physics, because humans, our eyes are wired to understand physics. So yeah, again, cloud coming out, dissipating. He gets hit with the bullet, comes out, blood comes down to the ground. Cloud's dissipating right here. It kind of like forms into more of, it gets flattened out because the gases are now being pushed against just the air as a whole, and then it dissipates. But yeah, that's all that. I drew all that frame by frame. You can go through it like faster and like see it like all as a whole. Oh yeah, there's like little puffs here too as it breaks apart. But I just was really happy with how that came out. I think it added a little bit, and it made it look better than if I just used like a little PNG flash.
Now, is it a good idea to blindly grant pardons to some of the most violent criminals in history? I don't know, is it a good idea to pop 3-year expired antacids when you have a stomach ache? Is it?
Yeah, that's an actual film. I actually have those. I took some like the day of uploading this video too. I've had those for like 6 years or something crazy, and I just thought it was funny. Like that was like a last minute change to the script. I didn't have that written in the original script. And no, it's not bad. So basically Tums
An idea
antacids.
to pop 3-year expired antacids when you have a stomach ache?
You can probably see it here, but the active ingredient is I'm pretty sure just calcium carbonate, which is like when some things when they expire, yeah, you can see it, calcium carbonate. That's not gonna break down into anything dangerous. That's calcium and carbon, and some other just like general safe. You know, it's fine. Basically, like when things expire, usually just means the dosage is less potent, or sometimes it just means that the container that the thing is in is starting to degrade. Things just need expiration dates. Like that's why you see expiration dates on bottles of water. So no, I knew this was fine to take. I thought it would be funny to just be like, is this okay, guys? I've been taking these for years now. And I had so many comments that were like, hey, pharmacist here, yeah, it's safe to take, you'll be fine. And I was like, thank you so much. It was really fun. I tweeted about that too, actually.
Is it? When Bonnet returned to his ship, pardon in hand, he found that Blackbeard had one more surprise in store for him. The legendary pirate was long gone, having taken with him all of the loot, as well as various weapons, provisions, supplies, and the best crewmen. At this
I didn't get any comments about that, but you all know I like to have my gumball shenanigans and measurements in my videos. I had like an empty gumball machine here to illustrate him taking all the supplies. How could he do that to us, man? He took all the fucking gumballs, bro. So this is the famous Blackbeard backstabbing moment. Some other things I wanted to talk about here. So this really makes it look like Blackbeard completely fucked over Steed Bonnet. And he did. He fucked him over, you know, he took all this shit and left. They both went to go get a pardon so they could stop being pirates, take their plunder, and, you know, like, find other lines of work. Steed Bonnet's original plan was to go down to, what's the name? I can't remember the name of the island off the top of my head, but he was going to go out to seek a license for privateering, which, as we mentioned earlier, is essentially the legal form of piracy. That's where you get a letter of marque from a government, which says you work for this government as long as you attack certain ships and raid them, you have government backing. So like it was really famous during the War of Spanish Succession during the early 1700s. Letters of marque were given out willy-nilly, especially to British sailors, basically to disrupt supply lines from the Spanish and the French. Basically, you would get state backing to do legal piracy, where you would just raid merchant ships from other countries, not the country that gave you the letter of marque, the permission. And then you can help, you know, fuck them over, disrupt their supply lines. But the problem is, once that war was done, all these letter of marques were then, you know, rescinded. We were like, okay, we're not at war with them anymore. Stop it. Stop attacking them. And then for these people who have for years now come to rely on privateering for a way of life, for all of their income, for surviving, are just like, what the fuck, man? What do I do now? Because this isn't like, oh man, my like warehouse shut down, I guess I'll go work at another warehouse. No, the whole government was like, this line of work is now done. We don't need you anymore. You can't just go to another government. You are, you know, you're kind of fucked. You have to find a completely new career path. And that's not a very easy thing to do. So for a lot of these people, they were just kind of like, I'm just going to keep doing it because I'm already doing it successfully. Just this time, I'm going to either still not attack the British ships or the Spanish ships or whoever gave you your letter of marque, or sometimes they started attacking them too, because now they don't have government backing. You know, obviously that's risky because that means that now you can be killed for it and arrested. But I mean, on the other hand, people were kind of like, I mean, I could have been arrested by the Spanish anyway because they don't want me stealing from their ships. So it's just kind of like a big mess. Letters of marque were very iconic in history, especially around like the 1700s, 1600s, and stuff like that. 1800s even, I think, too. So important, actually, that the U.S. Constitution reserves the right to give out letters of marque to modern U.S. sailors. So, like, the government today could go to, like, some guy who has a boat and give him a letter of marque, basically US-backed permission to raid cargo ships, do what Somali pirates do, but legally, and instead of like, you know, ransoming people, just steal their cargo. So like that's still a thing in the Constitution. That's how iconic this type of work was seen. That's how important it was. I mean, obviously in our modern day ecosystem, in our maritime environment, we don't really want to have like private yachts going around just raiding cargo ships. You know, we have a big enough US Navy to do that for us if we needed to. So it's obviously not something that's going to be granted today, but basically it was something that was prevalent around this time. So that was Steed Bonnet's plan. He was going to go acquire a letter of marque, keep doing what he's doing, but this time without it being classified as piracy, so that his pardon can be in full effect. He's no longer a criminal. He is now a good English man doing his God-given work for the king and shit. But yeah, so as we'll now learn, though, he's very mad at Blackbeard, and according to some versions of the story, again, this is where I'm talking about how we're speculating about history, because we don't know this part for a fact. People believe that he sought revenge after Blackbeard, that he was going to hunt him down because he fucked him over. And I completely forgot the other thing I was going to say. While Blackbeard did fuck him over, he could have done a lot worse, which is why some people believe that this was kind of like an amicable fuck over. He fucked him over, but he did it like a gentleman. Because when Blackbeard left, around this time, the Queen Anne's Revenge had been sunk. People believe, actually, part of the crewmen of Blackbeard believed that he did it intentionally so that he could then like downsize his crew, go get his pardon, and just yeet out of here. So at this point, they were left with 2 ships. They had Steed Bonnet's Revenge, his sloop that from his OG, his old reliable, and they also had acquired a new sloop at this point that was smaller. It wasn't as well equipped, more nimble. It was the lesser of the 2 boats. When Blackbeard left and we took a lot of the loot, not all of the loot, but a lot of the loot, and some equipment and supplies, not everything, but a good amount of it, and then all the best crewmen, he went on the smaller, lesser valuable boat and left, leaving the Revenge for Bonnet to keep, along with some crew and some loot that he had. So that's kind of interesting, right? Like, you'd think if you're trying to fuck this guy over, you would either take the better ship and sink the other one, or at least just take the better ship. But he didn't. He took his ship. He left stuff that was on the Revenge there for Steed Bonnet to have, and he then took off. So there are a couple ways you can view this. You can view it as, okay, Blackbeard still had like a pause. He still wanted to respect Steed Bonnet. He didn't want to completely fuck him over, but he wanted to fuck him over a little bit, right? Because he's still like selfish after all, and he's leaving to enjoy the rest of his life and continue doing what he's doing, which would be piracy that he would end up, getting hung for, or not hung. Sorry, he would die in combat. But on the other hand, you could also view it as, he's trying to take the smaller, faster ship, being more undercover, and he just didn't want to take the bigger boat. But it's not like that much bigger, so it's just kind of like, it's what do you want to believe here? It's hard to say for sure what happened. There are very good arguments attesting to the fact that this was more of an amicable fuck over, I guess is the way I'm putting it now. And Steed didn't want to seek revenge after Blackbeard because it, like, rightfully so, like, or as it's rightfully described, around this time, getting revenge against other pirates is kind of unheard of. That doesn't really happen. There aren't many instances where pirates seek revenge against other pirates because it's just, like, not worth it. In fact, a lot of piracy, which I try to highlight a little bit in this video, but I'm going to probably highlight in a future video on pirates, which, spoiler alert, I want to make more videos on pirates. A lot of what a pirate's goal was not to actually engage in combat and put their lives on the line. They wanted to put on kind of like a threatening display and try to, without any violence and loss of limbs and life, take what they need and get out of there. So it doesn't make sense to put your life on the line to get revenge against pirates, especially when you're not really getting much out of it, because you're not attacking wealthy, like, low-laden merchants filled with all these nice, like, tobaccos and cloth and shit. You're attacking these dirty pirates who have, like, some salted beef, I guess. So it's like you don't get much incentive out of doing stuff like that. It's not really worth it. And you have to convince an entire crew too to go after on this like go after some pirate or a pirate crew on this like revenge escapade. So, you know, it's what's believed, and that's why I try to like phrase my wording like that. But I want to like reiterate, we don't know for sure if Steed Bonnet was actually seeking revenge after Blackbeard. We don't know for sure if Blackbeard was actually trying to completely screw over Steed Bonnet. As is evident by what was left for Bonnet, it looks like it could have been like him taking what he wants and leaving, but leaving enough for Steed to be well off on his own. So that's kind of the situation that we're thank you so much for redeeming the hydrate. I actually need that. That's kind of the situation we're presented with here. But yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. I just kind of went with this version of events because this is what is most widely reported in the sources that I read. But these sources also equally expressed a doubt on this aspect of the story. So we don't know, is what I'm trying to get at here. How do you research for your videos? Is it just Wikipedia? No, it is not. It's sad that is the precedent set by many YouTubers in this space, but I do not just read Wikipedia. Dear God, guys, I'll drink in a second. Oh my God. I buy books on the subject. I do extensive research finding the primary sources by which Wikipedia cites. I mean, of course, I'll read the Wikipedia just to get a general idea and see what sources they cite, but then I'll seek out those sources and read their entries for my own to see if things are realistic. And I did that with Steed Bonnet here, and I'm glad I did because it clears up a lot of misconceptions, I think, about Steed, especially the part about him being like tired of his nagging wife and going out pirating because of it. But yeah, you guys have redeemed enough hydrates that I'm gonna need to like get a new glass of water. I ran out, so I'm gonna wait and chug water after I get through this director's commentary. How about that? Does that work out? I'll stretch, and check my posture. But I'm also gonna keep going. Keep going here for a second. All right. Continuing
At this point
now.
in his life, Bonnet was what we'd call not a happy sailor, and he was said to have developed a mortal hatred for Blackbeard.
Note that I
It's
said
believed
said
he
to
initially
have.
sought revenge against his former
And
ally,
it's
but he failed
believed.
to chase him down and would never cross paths with him again. So instead, the man who had just gotten a pardon for piracy returned to said piracy. But this time, he had a new strategy. To mask his piracy, he would compensate the victims to make his predatory looting appear like a fair trade on paper. Therefore, it's not stealing, it's just good business.
Yeah, just like an interesting strategy to try to make it seem like it's not piracy on paper. You know, it's not piracy if you're taking everything and giving them something for it and kind of like making them say it was a transaction. Obviously, that didn't really work out well for him, as we'll see in a second.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, great. Pleasure doing business with you. An old cable? This is worthless. The value comes from your imagination. Check this out. Now, can you imagine what I could do with this? Boop. Having been the victim of a stupid...
So, as mentioned before, this is a very Archer-inspired episode. That little boop was actually also kind of like another little Archer reference. There are a few times in Archer where he'll be like they'll like poke each other and be like, boop. Or I don't think they actually ever say boop, but they have like these like little to-go tinfoil cranes that you'll see. Like Archer tinfoil crane. I spelled crane wrong. Whoops. So like this is how they'll get like leftovers from restaurants, and like there was like one scene where like Archer was like, "Oh, like come now, bok bok," and like bops him with the crane. So like it was just like another little like nod to Archer. They do say boop. Okay, cool, yeah. So boop. Just another little inspired by Archer skit a little bit there.
tremendous amount of comical blunders, Bonnet had become a lot more violent now, even threatening to kill his own crewmen if they
I love this
refused to fight
picture.
at times. But this renewed piracy would be short-lived, as he was soon captured after a lengthy battle with pirate hunters. He was taken to Charlestown, where he was imprisoned to await
Now
trial.
known as
But luck would strike
Charleston.
one more time for our little gentleman pirate, as he escaped captivity to begin his life on the run. Ah, perfect. Oh, I believe you gentlemen have me mistaken for another handsome devil, for I am Duke Geoffrey Snickles of Worthington. How do you do? Yep, that's Steed Bonnet right there. Book 'em, boys. Your parrot can talk? No, he just knows that one phrase. Steed
Duke Geoffrey Snickles is actually, like this character that I've had for a long time. Like, before ever making YouTube videos on this BlueJay channel, I've been making YouTube videos for like fucking forever now, like over a decade, like 15 20 years or something like that. I don't really know. Anyway, I've always had this like little fun character in my brain, like Duke Geoffrey Snickles of Worthington, just like this distinguished aristocrat. And I just like made him a reality here. He's also a D&D character that I've made. And so I have friends that are playing in this D&D game where I play as Duke Geoffrey Snickles that were like, hey, nice Duke Geoffrey Snickles reference. So I have now immortalized him in all BlueJay glory.
was recaptured after only 4 days, and despite much pleading from not only him, but also various damsels enchanted by the charms of a gentleman pirate, he was hanged at the gallows on December 10th, 1718. While he met a bitter end, at least he can say that he fulfilled his dream. Hanging out with pirates. Okay,
I'm gonna grab some water real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the next section. In the meantime, I'm gonna rewind 1 minute, because that'll be about as long as it takes me, so you guys aren't just met with silence.
Can you imagine what I could do with this? Boop. Having been the victim of a stupendous amount of comical blunders, Bonnet had become a lot more violent now, even threatening to kill his own crewmen if they refused to fight at times. But this renewed piracy would be short-lived, as he was soon captured after a lengthy battle with pirate hunters. He was taken to Charlestown, where he was imprisoned to await trial, but luck would strike one more time for our little gentleman pirate as he escaped captivity to begin his life on the run. Ah, perfect. Oh, I believe you gentlemen have me mistaken for another handsome devil.
Tastes so good.
For I am Duke Geoffrey Snickles of Worthington. How do you do? Yep, that's Steed Bonnet right there. Book 'em, boys. Your parrot can talk? No, he just knows that one phrase.
Alright.
Steed was recaptured after only 4 days, and despite much pleading from not only him, but also various damsels enchanted by the charms of a gentleman pirate, he was hanged at the gallows on December 10th, 1718. While he met a bitter end, at least he can say that he fulfilled his dream. Hanging out with pirates. Okay, so I had a lot more pirate stories I wanted to talk about, and I didn't really expect Bonnet to steal the spotlight more than he ever did from ships, so let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2, but there's still time.
Which a lot of you guys said you did want a part 2, so I will be working on a part 2 in the future. This might be the year of pirates for BlueJay, who knows? I might make like 3 or 4 pirate videos, because I'm in a pirate mood, damn it.
I'm left for one more pirate story, and for this one, we'll have to swim on over to the second most iconic pirate sanctuary in history. Somalia. When you think of piracy, you think of plank walking, parrot squawking, booty gawking buccaneers.
I love
But don't
wordplay,
let
damn
Pirates
it.
of the Caribbean deceive you. Piracy has been and always will be a thing. While it may change in shape and form, the piracy breeding conditions of poverty and low social status remain constant. And the pirates that plagued headlines from 2000 to 2017 were the infamous Somali pirates. Sure, they lost sex appeal, switching out cutlasses and sloops for AKs and rusty motorboats, but it doesn't matter how tetanus-prone a pirate vessel gets, you can never scrub out the whimsical buffoonery. Somali pirates took advantage of their 119,090,000 gumball long coastline,
Gotta
along
get
one
the
of the
gumball
busiest commercial
measurement in.
trade routes on the planet, to capture foreign vessels and hold them for ransom. After the Somali government collapsed in the 90s, foreign powers exploited the unregulated Somali waters for their various dumping and or fishing needs.
This little picture, not a great guy. I'll give you 9 guesses as to what gives that away. So he was one of the, he's the former president of Somalia. President, you know, dictator, you know, you kind of call him what you want to call him. But he obviously not a great guy. It's really interesting because if you talk to Somalis and ask them what they think of him, you'll find a lot of people say that he was kind of effective, but obviously flawed, which is just really interesting when you're talking about a dude who has like a genocide on his Wikipedia entry. Because he was not a great guy, and he committed genocide, which is obviously always bad, and just, yeah, like all around just interesting guy. And what's really interesting is that I found people that were of the ethnic group that were the victims of this genocide supporting him in some instances, which confuses me. in my mind, I think that they are people from after the genocide took place, and so maybe they don't have as many like experiences from that time frame. But I'm obviously, you know, I'm just talking about like a few people that I've seen talk about them, not like the general populace. I don't know the general Somali consensus of Steed Bonnet. I don't know how to say his name right, but you know, not a great guy. And he had a Hitler mustache. No, don't make 4 or 5. Just skip to 6. Then again, I enjoyed the 4th and 5th movies, and they did feel like they're cleaning up alone after. What are you talking about? Anyway.
Unregulated Somali waters for their various dumping and or fishing needs.
But yeah, it was really messed up. Like the whole origins behind Somali piracy, which if you want to learn more about, a really good resource on Somali, like the rise and fall of Somali pirates, which I think the video is called that. Rise and fall of Somali. My like, why is reaction the first thing that autofills? That's kind of fucked. My keyboard is off to the side awkwardly. Yeah, Johnny Harris here. He made a really good video that goes in depth about like the rise and fall of Somali pirates. Like, why did it become a thing? Why was it a big deal in specifically Somalia and not other places? And a lot of it just comes from how taken advantage they were as a people. Because given the climate where they're at, they don't have much arid land for crops. They're very reliant on fishing and their sea for a source of nourishment and just surviving. So then once their government fell, they didn't have a navy or coast guard or anyone enforcing their own like sovereign claim to their waters. So you would have foreign companies, so like Italian-based companies, which was the former colonizer of Somalia, and companies from like Iran that would come in and fish in their waters and just really damage it, do some of that nice like trawling where they just kind of like fuck up the entire sea floor and take all the fish. And then you would have people dump, this is an actual picture taken off the coast of Somalia, of just chemical waste dumped into their sea where it's just cheap. They would pay Somalis to dump their chemical waste into their coast, and because they had no one enforcing the laws of their maritime waters, it was just easy and cheap to do. So pretty sad, pretty messed up. But yeah, this is kind of like why they ended up doing what they did. So Somali pirates started off by just basically like trying to fight off these fishermen to stake their claim in their waters, stealing from them to make some money back, and then eventually doing the ransoming that we kind of know them for and have seen them in like Captain Phillips for doing. So it's like, as Zipster Man said, it's weird because you kind of feel bad for them, but it doesn't excuse the violence. Yeah, exactly. And you'll see that more when you look into how Somali piracy developed, because at first it seemed kind of like a civilian defense of their waters, but then it evolved into having these like Somali pirate warlords who were like millionaires, just like raking in cash, making a fuckload of money, letting this piracy get organized and develop into just like a big booming like multi-billion-dollar business with investors from international companies. So obviously it got to the point where it's not as like wholesome, it's just a source of profit. It's a business at that point. But yeah, so obviously it's not like, oh man, they're all victims and so everything's fine, but you can understand why something like this would start and develop. Mr. J, why do you not simply go to school to earn a PhD in history and become a professional educator? I have other inspirations, I guess, but you know, I always thought it'd be kind of fun, like end career goal, to be a teacher at a high school or something, for probably like chemistry, but history would be fun too.
Hey, what's going on out there?
Nothing. What's that over there?
I think this is the last Archer reference in the video. The whole like, or there's a recurring joke where they're like smoke bomb, and then they like just like throw their hand down and run away, like there's no actual smoke. So that's like a little smoke bomb joke from Archer.
This exploitation got to the point where foreign fishing in Somali waters surpassed domestic fishing, so local fishermen took it upon themselves to start defending their resources by capturing and robbing invading vessels. Seeing the potential in this practice, things rapidly escalated into the ransoming shenanigans that we're more familiar with today. But if we learned anything from Archduke Ferdinand's driver, it's that things don't always go according to plan, and what might start off as one small mistake on paper can quickly unfold into disastrous results. Such
Oh
was the
dear
case
God,
for a group
cat
of
girls.
Somali pirates in 2009 who set off on a routine capture of a merchant vessel. In the cover of the night, they snuck up on their target in 2 skiffs and began firing their small arms to intimidate the crew and prep them for boarding. But something was different about this attack. This merchant ship wasn't behaving how it was supposed to. Instead of maneuvering in an attempt to shake off the attacking pirates, it started heading towards them to respond. This was probably due to the fact that this was not a vulnerable cargo ship. This was the Somme, the French command ship for all naval forces in the Indian Ocean. Whoa, didn't see you there. In the darkness of the night, the
I love
pirates
that
mistook
skit
the
so much.
silhouette of the Somme to be a civilian merchant vessel, so what started off as a routine assault quickly turned into a hasty escape for their lives as the French warship began its pursuit. The skiffs split up, forcing the Somme to pursue one of them for an hour before they finally surrendered and were arrested. You can probably imagine the French crew got a good laugh out of this. I mean, Somali pirates in glorified canoes attacking a warship in the middle of the night was probably the stupidest thing to ever happen to them. Until 6 months later when it happened again. Again? You guys. Like a blind person with a bow and arrow.
It's so funny, like, it's hard to find that story when you research about it. Like there are so many reports about Somali pirates attacking military ships, and it's just hilarious to think about that prospect. You can understand why though. Like you look at the Somme, it's a tanker ship. Yes, it's like the command ship for naval forces, but it's not like, you know, like a ship of the line, like a man of war type ship or like a destroyer. It doesn't look exactly like a big, scary, dangerous warship when you're thinking about like looking at it at night, especially considering the fact that these pirates are coming up in these little fucking dinghies. They're in skivs, and you're like in the waves of the open ocean. You're close to the waterline. You're bobbing and rocking. You're a small little boat on the like vast open sea. You don't have like the most stable like footing to look at things in the distance, you would imagine, you know, so you can understand why you can make these mistakes. So I'm trying to like highlight, it's not like Somalis are just idiots. It's just like the situation brewed conditions where it just like is hard to identify what's a cargo ship and what's a warship sometimes. Not always. We'll see examples where it doesn't like make sense to me, at least, why they would attack these warships. But I did see some like really weird comments. I don't know what's going on. I feel like there are like people are so much more comfortable these days just being racist, or maybe it's because I have more people watching my stuff than ever before, so I just see more comments. But I saw like a bunch of people saying something along the lines of like, yeah, just Somalis just aren't as educated, or like they don't know, like they're saying things like they're just like, because of where they're from, they're stupid and they don't know things, and so that's why they attacked warships. And I'm just like, oh man, what a take. It's just crazy that you can just see people say stuff like that these days, man. Like, oh, god damn. I know it's a minority, which is, thank God. But people are terrible, always. It has nothing to do with where they're from. They're not lesser because of their culture or background. They just made a mistake, like we all do. Who doesn't attack warships on accident? You know, I probably would. I've definitely taken on bigger ships than I could chew in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So who's to say? The pirates kept hitting the wrong target, again accidentally attacking the French warship in the night before they realized their mistake. But as we all know, blind people are very easy to tackle. So while they tried to run, the Somme gave chase and promptly captured them. Now, you're probably waiting for me to say this happened yet a third time, and you'd be wrong. This has happened like dozens of times, and not just with this ship, mind you. I found stories of pirates attacking warships from not only France, but from Spain, America, the Netherlands, Kenya, and so on. I love that one, specifically this article. Somali pirates mistakenly attack Dutch warship. Oops. It's so funny. Yeah, it's like these have happened so many times, but like you often find like very like little reported articles, and it's stuff like that that makes me think like, man, like this is like probably one of the most modern stories I've ever covered on my channel, but hundreds of years from now, if there was another me going back and talking about funny pirates and wanted to talk about Somali pirates, they're gonna have a hard time piecing together this history, because you don't have this as like in-depth reported as you would want, because like some of these articles are like literally like just like an AP news report, a few sentences saying like the bare minimum facts, and that's why like piecing together these stories, they're not like super detailed. Like in this first story, like the first time, I don't know if the Som fired back. In my skit, I showed him firing his machine gun. I don't know if they did. In the second instance when they were attacked, it was said that they fired warning shots back at the pirates. So I'm like, maybe they did the first time too. I don't know. You don't get these details sometimes, and I don't know why people don't fucking give them. Ugh, it's annoying. I guess I just have to be omnipotent.
Now,
Which I am, for the record, I am.
Attacking a military tanker you thought was a cargo ship is a little understandable, but accidentally attacking a Florial
Thank you for the
class
hydrate.
frigate sporting what is clearly a 100mm ticket to the afterlife is a conversation I really wish I could have overheard.
This one's really funny
Are
to
we
me.
sure this is a cargo
Dear
ship?
God.
Yeah, look, you can see the containers right there. What about that long-angled tube pointed precariously outward as if in an aiming fashion? Oh. Well, that's obviously a pool noodle. Pool noodle. What ship has a 30-foot-long pool noodle sticking outside of a big box? I don't know, Dan, a water park supply ship for fat Americans? Just fucking grab the AK and let's steal some floaties.
I don't know why that skit's so funny to me. I'm almost out of water. You need to chill. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I just really liked it. This is one thing that I do actually wish I could have done a little differently. I really wanted to have this boat bobbing, and maybe having some like waves coming up along the side, because they're on an ocean in a little skiv. But if I had more time, that's another thing I would have changed. I would have gone back. I would have added a little bit more wiggling to that. Hold on a second, guys. I hate that you guys have so many Twitch points. Yeah, I would have like animated that like a little bit more, but I mean, it doesn't detract from it. I still think it's one of my favorite skits. I think it's really good. It's just like I don't know, man, it's like a pool noodle. I was trying to think like, how can you look at this ship? How can you see this massive gun? That's a real picture of the ship, and then go like, yeah, that one. Let's get that one. It's just so funny. I mean, I explain why they might not have seen it here in a second, but still, it's just funny to me.
Water park supply ship
I'll
for
drink
fat
now.
Americans? Just fucking grab the AK and let's steal some floaties. Again, in 2009, Somali pirates mistakenly attacked the French frigate, Neve.
I have people comment that's like, it's pronounced exactly like you see it. And then they do some like phonetic spelling that isn't like proper phonetic spelling, and I still don't know how it's said. I don't want to look it up. I'm not gonna look it up, but I'm just gonna like say it a different way every time. Nevos, Nevus, Nevaz, Nevos, Nevas. Who knows, man? Are French people real?
Assuming it
Maybe
was a
not.
merchant vessel. But to be fair, this time the French were being a little devious. They had positioned themselves in the sun to try to lure the pirates in before capturing all 11 of them. So I guess
So
if the
it's
sun was
understandable
truly
a
shining
little
in
bit.
all Apollo's glory that day, I can kinda buy a few dudes in a little boat trekking through the waves of an open ocean, not making out a warship until the last second. But there's really no excuse for the time in 2006 where Somali pirates were faced with not one, but 2 US Navy warships and still decided
Have him
to
shaking
fight.
a little
An
bit.
American destroyer, the USS Gonzales, was on an anti-piracy patrol when it spotted what looked like a pirate mothership on the horizon. It was joined by the missile cruiser, the USS Cape St. George, who both trailed the oblivious pirates until dawn. They then sent boarding teams and inflatable boats to investigate, but once the Somali buccaneers noticed them approaching, they decided to open fire on the boarding parties from nearly point-blank range. The Americans returned fire as they retreated, but this was only the tip of the batshit insane iceberg that was these pirates' decision-making skills, as they then decided to shoot their AKs and RPGs at the American destroyer and missile cruiser.
This is the one that I just don't understand. And there's footage of this full event unfolding. And I show a little bit of it here in a second, but I don't really want to show like action footage on my channel. Even though it's like, it's not really bad or anything, but anyway, I liked drawing these little like RPG rockets here. I don't know if anyone really like picked up on that, but that's like a little green rocket head with some little flames and like a little squiggly like smoke trail going back to the ship. But yeah, man, just like seeing these two warships and going like, we're going at them, boys. We're gonna take them out. And this is where I saw a lot of really bad comments where people were like, with the Somali education, maybe they thought that their RPG could take out a warship. No, they fucking didn't, dude. There's no way. Like, no one thinks that, bro. Come on, guys. Try not to be racist in a history community challenge, bro. Impossible. God damn.
Hey, so this is a destroyer, right? Correct. Short for torpedo boat destroyer, actually. They were invented to specialize in destroying specifically smaller vessels. Oh, yeah. Anyway, fulfilling its ancient duty, the American destroyer made short work of this battle, igniting a skiff in American hellfire when its tracer rounds hit a fuel drum. This seemed to be just the stimulant the other pirates' prefrontal cortexes needed to finally engage, as they then decided to surrender after leaving just a few scratches on the warships. It's really hard to imagine what the, game plan was for these Somali pirates. Maybe they thought they could intimidate and confuse the Americans for just long enough to make a quick escape. Or maybe they were looking to commit suicide in a way that was most expensive for American taxpayers. But perhaps their full plan hasn't been realized just yet. While 12 captures and 1 kill were tallied, a Somali pirate spokesman said that 27 pirates had gone out to sea. So my theory is that the remaining 14 had snuck aboard the American ships, slowly integrated into the military-industrial complex, and have been creeping their way up through government ranks so that one day they could maybe, just maybe, have enough power to reinstate Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The goat. One and only king of the pirates. Godspeed, Somalia. Wacky pirates. 12 out of 10 stars.
Yay! Oh man, look at these beautiful Patreon supporters. Some of them are in chat right now, like Amber. Welcome! I'll get your booty is my teasing little threatening phrase today. So yeah, that was my video on how the worst pirates you've never heard of. Overall, it seems like you guys really liked it. I'm really happy to see that. I got a lot of people saying like, I've heard of Steed Bonnet. Everyone's heard of Steed Bonnet. No, they fucking haven't. And you know what? I don't care, because you commenting about it just helps my video out, man. So, I mean, if you're on the internet and you don't think that, like, this title isn't like a play on words for, like, you are without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of from Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't know what to tell you, man. I wanted to have that title because it's a funny quote. So, yeah. But, no, I think this video came out really well. It's really funny because my original plan was to make an 8-minute video. Oops. It's really hard these days. I planned the same thing with the Lobster War video, and that was like 17 minutes. But I think with how much I feel like I'm getting better at writing, I am able to express more details in a story to a level that I think is entertaining and engaging enough so that I don't think that it's too boring. Like back in the day on like some of these older videos, I cut out a lot. I stuck to the main points, and I just kind of like worked off of that because I wasn't, I guess, to a point where I am now where I felt like I could make less entertaining things more entertaining. But now I'm able to cover like the entire details that we know about Steed Bonnet in a way that's concise and efficient, because you could spend more time on him, of course, but also just, it's more in depth, but also still entertaining, to me at least. Whoops. Some things that are different. My narration has gotten a lot more confident and whimsical. I've had people compare it to MatPat, which is just interesting. I don't think like anyone can ever tell you sound like someone and then you yourself like actually hear it. Like, when I listen to MatPat, I don't hear myself at all. But I've had that comment enough where I'm like, do I sound like MatPat? I don't know. But my narration has definitely changed over time. Like, if you listen to, like, how I sounded in older videos, I'm a lot more relaxed. I don't know, I just sound different. Like, even, like, a year ago.
Monday.com has definitely changed and improved the way we work.
Oh, boy. I should sign up for free today.
So I was looking through my YouTube analytics the other day and discovered two things.
Like you can see that's like a little bit more relaxed, right? In this, I'm more like whimsical and insane. That's how I like to describe it.
Joined by the missile cruiser, the USS Cape St. George, who both trailed the Oblivion.
I have a little bit more of a swing to my voice, as you could say. I had someone say that I had like a really harsh comment saying they didn't like it. Most people said that they like think my narration is good, but I'm like, you know, maybe I should tone it back a bit. I don't know. I think it's kind of like a taste thing, because like I can see this as being over the top a little bit. Like it seems like it's more directed for engagement, but I'm not really intending it to be like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I should try like toning it down a little bit, or kind of continue going with the type of like narration that I'm going with now. So I'm a little undecided. I might experiment. I might like go back a little bit. I might like go further a little bit. Who knows? It's something that I am probably going to constantly change and get better at or worse at. Who knows? But yeah, that's something that I notice personally when I like going back and listening to my other videos. As long as you enjoy it, the people will enjoy. Yeah, and that's always been my rule of thumb, really, is I want to make videos that I like. If I think it's good, I'm going to do that. So that's like what I talked about earlier with this initial skit where I had some people say like, hey, I love your videos, but just like wanted to say I think some of your skits are a little long-winded. No hate, love what you do, keep it up. And like people are like trying to be as nice as possible, telling me that they think that I'm making skits too long. But like I said, I just like them, man. I think they're funny, so I'm gonna keep doing it. And that's just that's for me.
Then what you at?
this whole skit, it's just so funny to me. But yeah, I think I talked about it before, but I'll just say it again. I often get people asking me like, oh, what tips do you have for making videos? Make something you like. That's it. That's what I try to do. And whenever I'm in doubt, I ask myself that, and I try. And sometimes I find myself doing stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, this is like what you're supposed to do as a creator, but you just don't want to do that like ever. Just be yourself, and you'll find people that enjoy what you like too. Because not everyone's going to find everything you do good or funny, and you got to accept that. I don't accept that. I'm saying you got to accept it. Everyone will like me. I'm God, after all. But other people, you know, not everyone's going to like you. Not me. Anyway, but yeah, that's my pirate video. Expect a part 2, not the next video, but in the future. Yeah. So, any questions though about this video? I will now take questions from the audience, and I might have missed some because chat was coming in a little bit fast. How did you mispronounce the nives? It's clearly pronounced nojevije. I am 0.1% French. I know this. You know, Wyatt, as amazing and omnipotent as I am, I do sometimes choose to specifically exclude the knowledge of all things French from my mind. So that's probably why. Why do you have teeth? Don't you? How do you chew, man? That's such a silly question. Do you know what Steed Bonnet kid died of? I honestly don't know. I don't either. I couldn't find anything detailed about why Steed Bonnet's kid died. We just know that he did, or she. Now that's another thing, is we don't actually know the exact gender of the kid. It's widely believed to be a he, but some people say it was a she. But then also we kind of just know about his family because of baptism records, which is, you know, say what you want about religion, but like they do a really good job preserving historical record. That's why we know a lot about the specific details about Steed Bonnet and his birth date and like his kid's birth date and who his kids were and who his wife was, because they have baptism records for them. And then while other records are destroyed, like the US government doesn't do a good enough job sometimes keeping court documents safe, those baptism records have survived, and that's why we know about his kids and that one of them had died. I believe that's why we know one of them died, but I don't remember the names of the kids. I think the baptism record had a very masculine sounding name for the kid. So I don't know where the female confusion comes from, but I believe, don't hold me to it because I don't remember off the top of my head. But I believe that's why we know it is a boy, and also that the boy died. Not what from, but I mean, yeah, obviously child mortality was very high around that time. So it could be any number of things, I suppose. Will you make a part 2 to this? I will, yes. I have so many other pirates I want to talk about that really won't even fit into a part 2. It'll probably become a part 3 even, or 4. It really just depends on how well it does. This video was pretty well received. It wasn't like my best well received in terms of performance. This amount of views at this point in time is good, and I'm very happy. I can't ever complain about views, man. Like, I'm in a very fortunate position where I have 670,000 eyeballs that want to stick to a screen of shit that I drew for 22 minutes. That's just a blessing always. So even if it's not the best performing thing, if I want to make a pirate video, I will. And I have other ideas on pirate that I want to talk about, and there's like a cool one where I found a lot of interesting pirates that were all connected in some way. So I could tell the whole story connecting each individual pirates. And that could be really fun. I could do like a little fun, like little sequence with that. Oh, hey, thank you, Cairo. Sorry, I'm not really good with names sometimes. For the $2 donation. Seriously loving the content. Hint on the next video. I can say yarg. I will probably do a pirate video next. Maybe not on the worst pirates, but a pirate video. I'm in the pirate mood. There's your hint, but because you gave me money, it's the only reason you're getting it. Do you have a bank of stock assets like that ham on the table? Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I thought you were literally asking me if I had like stocks in a bank. I do. These were new though. I drew this fish, I drew these grapes, these bowls, these hams, these plates, all this cutlery and everything. The only stock assets here was this wine bottle. This I first drew in my Wacky Duels video, specifically for the skit about like those two, Lord William Byron, the Wicked Lord as he was called, arguing with a friend of his about the proper way to prepare game birds after they were shot. And if you remember, that's actually another example of a long-winded skit that I had. It's kind of crazy that I can remember the specific place and time where I drew a wine bottle of all things. But I just think like when you draw shit, you're just very well connected to it and everything related to it. So in this video here from like almost 3 years ago now, I think. Ugh, ads. I'm not logged in, so I don't have Prime or Premium or whatever. Thanks, T Swift, for kicking us off. Right around here, these wine bottles. This is an example of one of my earliest, really long-winded skits. These just escalating, arguing back and forth. I really love this skit so much, but I also got complaints about it here. That's where I first drew them, so that's like a stock asset. Brought it back. She was also first drawn in my first fashion video, my first wacky fashion. You first see her when she was waltzing through the garden with her aristocratic husband, looking for a hermit to take home, a little prize, if you will. Why didn't I get an ad, YouTube? Now I'm not making money, damn it. Right around here. This is the first appearance of this wonderful lady aristocrat. That's the thing I want to get better at. I tend to reuse female characters of mine more than I draw new ones, especially compared to male characters, just because the hair can take more time. It's so much easier to draw a bald guy. Even though this hair didn't take me long, it just takes more time. And you have to draw hair behind them too, and you have to like move the layers differently so that like when you move the head, you don't like expose part of the unfinished hair underneath, and you gotta like keep it like, it's just more work, you know. Females be work, man. So I tend to reuse them, and I kind of wish I drew a new wife for Steed here, but she looked perfect for the role, you know, her sun hat for like my character of like a nagging wife. I don't know, I just thought she worked well, so I reused her. She also was first drawn for my the wacky fashion video. I think, yeah, at the very beginning here, she was laughing at the kid falling down with the Heelys in the hallway. Man, it's so awesome I can remember all these details. This is also just like a recolored hair of the same girl, which is kind of funny. I haven't seen her since then. He was also from that same skit. I reuse a lot of kids from this skit. Timmy is a recurring character in all my videos. You've seen him all the time. With his iconic nose, a clear reference to the famous Bone series by Jeff Smith. I love those comics. So I reused this guy, this gal, and this gal, and this wine bottle, and everything else is new here. And this background, I guess, is recycled from earlier in the video, but not really recycled. Anyway, spent a lot of time on that one question. How many minutes? But yes, I do have like a whole catalog of props that I reuse. How many minutes of footage can you animate a day? I can only do about 3 minutes max. That's actually kind of around the average time for this video. It really depends on what I'm drawing. If I'm drawing like a background heavy, if I have a background heavy day, like this day was, so you see like I have like this big ship in the foreground. I got like this like slave plantation. I've got this table with all these like dishes. Like I couldn't get 3 minutes done this day. But for the most part, I try to shoot for like 3 to 4 minutes when I'm really grinding. And that's doable. Once I'm towards the end of a video, I'm really warmed up. I'm really in a rhythm. I can sometimes get like 5 out. But usually that's like when I don't have many backgrounds to draw. For this video process, I don't think I ever had a day where I got 5 minutes done in a day. Well, maybe. Maybe I got like 4.5 done. I can't remember. But yeah, it's usually like 3 or 4. Sometimes less, depending on the background. Stock made by you. I have 1 million bits of 3D furniture I made for myself that I reuse everywhere. Yeah, that's perfect. Do you have a favorite era in pirate history? I mean, I'm really just a sucker for the Golden Age, just because it's just like where all the iconic shit's from. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a great time, and getting to see like that aesthetic in reality is just really fun. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a basic bitch for that, but I love the Golden Age of piracy, specifically around the time like after the War of Spanish Succession, where all the privateers became pirates, and that was when it like really boomed. And you have like Steed Bonnet, so like early 1700s. Oh man, all these questions. Maybe I should start skipping some. Yeah, reusable assets. What skits didn't make it? Oh, juicy questions now. Let's see. So I had a skit that I cut because I couldn't find a way to make it like super satisfying. Right around where the fuck? It was God damn it. Where can I find it? It was right around where he was talking about being depressed. Was it like right here? No. He confided in some crewmen is where I start off the skit. Oh, it was here, sorry.
Tired of it and would gladly leave it all behind to live life anew in Spain or Portugal.
I was gonna have a skit there where Steed Bonnet was talking to his like crew members, like saying like they wants to go to Spain, and like a pirate was like I can't like talk about the details because eventually I'm gonna be animating these skits and putting them on Patreon. So it's kind of exclusive for the people that pay for these extra perks. But it was gonna be him like with a skit like talking about dreaming about going to Spain, and everyone like makes fun of him. So that was a skit that was cut, and there was a different version of this original skit where they're arguing here, where he didn't talk about like a dog trebuchet. It was gonna be something else, and I'm probably not gonna animate that one. So like literally it was just like a change in like how it was like worded. It was gonna be something like Like, so she goes like, then Mr. Peppers would still be alive. And he was gonna be, how was I supposed to know the dog couldn't handle his berry parfait? Because it's common knowledge. Dogs can't have chocolate. It was white chocolate. What? White chocolate. I heard you. Then why'd you ask? Like, it's just like a little different. I didn't think it was as funny, but I just thought it was kind of funny that he's just like, it wasn't chocolate, it was white chocolate. So that was like a different version there. I also had another skit I was gonna do, where he go like right after I say like he's about to kickstart his new career on the high seas. I was gonna have a skit where he's leaving home, and like his like son's like, okay, Papa, when are you coming back? And he was gonna like fuck with George a little bit again. So there was like a whole other skit that I was gonna do there, but I ended up cutting it just because I had a lot of skits. Like, it was gonna be this skit, a paragraph of narration, another skit, a paragraph of narration, and then another skit. And I'm like, this is just too many skits. So I ended up cutting that one too. So yeah, there were about like 3 skits that were cut, and then other ones that were different ideas and evolved. Oh, Cairo, like in Egypt. Okay, thank you. Sorry for mispronouncing it earlier. And again, thank you for the donation. How many minutes of footage came in a day? I think I already answered that. You should talk about pirates, fishing with parrots. Oh yeah, well, essentially, exotic pets were very popular among pirate ships because they were fun. Who doesn't love exotic pets? So parrots were one example, but there were reports of like things like monkeys and other various critters. Oh man. These are all like old questions I'm answering now. Let's look at what Twitch has to say. I'm skipping there. Will there be any more wacky war tactics one day? For sure. I actually had a Patreon poll when I did my Cold War video. I asked them, what video would you guys like to see next? Would you want to see a How to Win the Cold War video, or would you want to see a Wacky War Tactics 3 video? And they voted on Cold War, so that doesn't mean I won't do Wacky War Tactics one day, but I was just like very undecided between the two. I thought they both would be very fun, and I just couldn't decide, so I left it up to my audience. But yeah, more Wacky War Tactics in the future for sure, because it's such a good genre of content. Not as bad as drawing my hair. Yeah, Amber's hair, I'm doing custom character drawings for all the Predator Bird tier Patreon members, where I'm going to start showing them at the end of the screen here instead of just their names. And I drew Amber's the other day on a live stream for Patreon, and her character ended up taking a lot of time. I actually, I don't have a picture of it on this computer. Well, actually, hold on, I can pull it up. Her character looks like this person here. Let's see, copy link. Does this work? If I do copy link and then I go in here and I paste and go to the link. Yeah, there you go. This is hers. It's the pink-haired bitch from My Hero Academia. Forget her name. She sucks. But yeah, this is her custom character. I actually, I'm being facetious. I actually was really happy with how this one came out. But it's my interpretation of, oh, you know what? I'm really scared to stream me looking up My Hero characters. Amber, what's her name again? So I can just like Google it real quick and not click images, because I'm sure I won't get any porn when I do that. Because last time when I looked her up, there's just like straight, there's straight Rule 34 there, man. Can't be showing that on stream. That's right. Mina Ishido. Age? I love that that's the first result. What's her age? It's this person from My Hero. If you guys recognize this character, it's a popular anime character. Anyway, in your pirate research, have you come across a buried/lost treasure which you think may still be out there or unrecovered? No, I've not. And the idea of buried treasure is, I mean, obviously you probably can expect it's kind of rare. It's not like a very prevalent thing. The very famous example was Captain William Kidd. He was a potential pirate to talk about, even though he's very much so more well-known than Steed Bonnet. So it would have been really risky to put him on a video called The Worst Pirates You've Never Heard of. But William Kidd was famous for having buried treasure and told authorities where it was. I don't remember the exact details around it because I didn't do extensive research into him yet. But that was like a famous example for where that came from. I believe I'm pretty sure he also inspired Treasure Island, the book that made the idea of buried treasure popular. But it's more of like a fictional thing sensationalized in books and not like an actual tactic used by pirates, unfortunately. That doesn't mean we can't dream that one day Somali pirates may take up this once sacred practice of burying treasure. I love Bone. Dude, you and me both, man. That is such an underrated... I don't know if it's underrated, but it's a gem. I miss my favorite sheets, or my favorite moment of the blowy sheets. Yeah, that's really good. Do you draw the videos in chronological order of the video, or do you skip around the video and put it together at the end? So I was saying that at the very beginning of the stream, but I always do everything in chronological order. So like starting the script to the end of the script. Well, sometimes that can be a little mixed matched. If I find like a funny joke to put later on, I'll write that earlier. But like start to finish, script writing for the most part, start to finish voicing, and then, which I kind of regretted for this video because early on in the voice process of this video, I was screaming this domestic dispute, which fucked up my voice for a few days. So the narration for like this part of the video took a while because my throat was hurting and my voice was cracking. And I feel like you can kind of notice it at times, but not for the most part. But for the drawing of this video, and for every other video I had always done from start to finish, for this video, I saved the drawing and animation of this intro sequence until the very end because I had a tight deadline for this video to come out, and I wanted to, you know, try to put in as much time as I possibly could into making this as cinematic feeling as possible, without, you know, going over the deadline. And World of Tanks, they were really cool. Or not World of Tanks. World of Warships, they were really cool. And they allowed me to extend my deadline a little bit so that I could put out a better quality video. So like really props to them for being cool like that. I was already a little late and they let me be more late because they valued the creative process. So some of the best folks I've worked with, when sponsors value the goodness of a video, you know they're a keeper. So if you guys are at all interested in World of Warships, it would be cool if you guys use my link in the description of this video here. And I can't share that link specifically because I think it'll like make a YouTube link, but I'll share the video link so you guys can all go to it if you want to real quickly. And if you're interested, but you know, anyway. So I didn't do this part in order. I did right after this all the way to the end, and then I went back and did the beginning portion. So out of order this time around, but for the most part, yeah, everything is chronological, for better or for worse. I think that I can do better at my organization, and Cass is actually being really helpful, trying to help me figure out ways to better organize my workflow for productivity. Acid Woman, do not look up My Hero, safe search for stream. Oh yeah, you know, that's probably good. I should learn how to stream, man. I'm not a streamer, but I like to do it. Let's see what we got here. Hi, Mr. Birdman, longtime viewer here. Just wanted to say thanks for the laughs. Oh, thank you, Tim Van 3. I'm glad that you enjoy my videos. It's crazy to me still that there are people that watch my stuff. So thank you. Back to YouTube. What do we got over here? Am I missing any questions? Dang, you're reading all of the chat. I was worried my first comment had been buried earlier, so for pushing through. You're fine. I thought that I had kept scrolling back further, but I realized you had put it again. That's understandable. I'm not bothered. I wanna answer your guys' questions. It kind of adds to the Blue Jay cinematic universe. For sure, dude. I want to make that a thing. That's like how I said at the very beginning of this video. Part of the reason for me wanting to make this really cinematic intro, going a bit above and beyond for the normal course of a Blue Jay video in terms of animation, is to prep people for eventually when I start doing full-on animated videos, short animations, stuff like that, you know, like on the same level as Dr. B's. It won't be as good as Dr. B's because that's a legendary video made by a legendary animator on YouTube, but I want to make animated shorts for YouTube, and I want people to come to expect just like more creative animated content on my channel that's not just educational. I want to do other entertainment. But I love this kind of entertainment too, so I'm not gonna like stop. So you don't have to worry that like I'm transitioning. Um. Okay, what else do we got here? What else do we got here? We got would have been hilarious. That's an argument universal to dog owners. Oh man, I don't remember. Oh, was that me talking about my my like cutout skits maybe? Shipwrecks are more likely to have buried treasure than an island somewhere. Very true, actually. And there are active shipwrecks that we know are wrecked that potentially have a lot of gold in them, I believe. I think one of them might have been found recently. I feel like I heard something about that. Can you sing me a lullaby because I'm trying to go to sleep? I can recite poetry, but I'm not going to do it. Pipe smoking bird plushies on the way. They're being made right now, to my understanding. I haven't been updated on the exact production process, but the estimated shipping time is from May to June. Bone was always on the shelf next to the one holding Tintin and Asterix and Obelix books in the library. Is it similar? In vibe, I mean strange, open feeling adventure mystery. I haven't read Tintin. I've seen the movie, and I don't know Asterix and Obelix, but Bone is like, it's kind of like an epic adventure, similar to Lord of the Rings in feel, but definitely more kid oriented and a little bit less complex and out there. But it's an adventure with fun, awesome characters and a great story of royalty and ascending to the throne. It's great. It's awesome. So it's similar in the sense that it's an adventure and an epic. Do you plan on Twitch becoming a source of income and attention, or is it just rather for fun and feedback? I mean, it'd be cool if it could become a source of income, but I mean, it's mostly for fun. I just really like streaming myself playing little video games and talking about my videos. But it's not like I don't want to become like a streamer, you know. It's not going to be my thing just because sticking to like a strict schedule and relying on it. And also I just think like the whole like streamer culture is just maybe not for me. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice. A source of attention? I love attention, but this is just a funny way to put it. It's true, though. Like, it's a valid question. It'd be cool if it was a good source of income because, you know, like, I post these videos so infrequently that, like, revenue is all over the place. So it's not really, nothing's really reliable right now. Only Patreon is really reliable for me. But that's still kind of small. I can't rely on Patreon at all. I'm still a small channel at the end of the day, believe it or not. In the grand scheme of things, just a mere little small fry in the sea of YouTube. Don't get me wrong, I believe I'm better than everyone already, but I'm still small. Oh, I should read them. They're exactly as you're describing Bone right now. That sounds great. I think that it could be cool. I love reading just in general, and books like Bone, I'm always down for. Have you played Assassin's Creed Black Flag? And if so, could you stream it? That could be really fun to stream, actually. I've been streaming recently Final Fantasy. I had planned on streaming it today too, but I ended up taking a lot of time on this director's commentary. I don't know if I have it in me to start streaming a video game after this in enough like depth. So I might stream tomorrow if you guys want to watch me play Final Fantasy. I'm having a lot of fun with that. So sorry for lying in the title and thumbnail. But it's getting late. I want to work on my animation that I want to put out on my RedJay channel that I was mentioning earlier. It's a little like test animation using a new app, Procreate Dreams, and it's coming along really nicely. So I'm really excited to finish it. You only believe you're better? You don't know. No, I am. I am. Fuck you. You ever read any Isaac Asimov? I've not. 2 streams, let's go. Yeah, I'm having fun streaming. I mean, I'm just addicted to this Final Fantasy game. For those of you that have been in the stream, for me streaming it, like I am just having a blast with these voices. It's great practice for voice acting. I will show you. So, oh yeah, here it is. So like Ugh, ads. I don't know if you guys have been here for the starting soon screens, but I've been changing like the pog faces I've been having on them. It's really funny to me. But yeah, it's
Bill
fun.
Cosby.
That's a great place to start, Bill Cosby.
He comes and goes like the wind, swearing allegiance to no one. Hidden behind his wintry gaze lies a face known to none who live.
Me stuttering, on brand.
Shadow the Hedgehog. I wish I had enough characters to add that. Except for office.
Anyway, that was me voicing Edgar at that time. But it's just really fun, this whole game. I have this thing called the the GB operator. This thing right here. Basically, it's a little thing that lets me plug in my Game Boy cart and play it on my computer. So I'm not pirating. I'm playing my Game Boy cart, but on my computer, which is fucking awesome. Do you know how exciting that is for me? I love retro gaming. I've never pirated anything. I'm just not about that. I'm not gonna judge people who do it, but I just don't like it. So I love the opportunity to be able to like. It's only $50 and I can play all my Game Boy games on my computer. And not only that, but it's extremely useful because it allows you to not only emulate your game, but it's useful for backing up your save file. So the main reason I got it was because I was able to plug in my Game Boy cart for games with save batteries that were dying, and I could download my save from my cartridge, and then I could open up the cart, I could desolder the battery that's on the SRAM chip, which essentially it's a type of memory that requires a constant supply of power to preserve the save, unlike flash memory today where it can be dead and it can be saved forever essentially. But because like these people didn't expect people to be playing these games 20 years later, these batteries pretty much are all dying out, so any save data on these carts that use SRAM will eventually just lose their save. But with this guy here, you can plug in your cart, you can download your save onto your computer, then you can take off this battery, put on a new battery, which would delete the save, but then you can just upload your save right back. So it's a way to preserve your game files. You can also download the ROM file for your Game Boy cart, which is how you can legally emulate a game. So if you wanted to play Castlevania on a different emulator, you can just download the ROM and open it up on an emulator, because emulation is legal. It is illegal to illegally download a ROM, but it's not illegal if you can legally use your own ROM that you did purchase. So it's yeah, it's just like, it's cool for all that stuff. It also lets you do stuff like playing around with cheat codes and stuff. You can like modify your save. If you like have Pokemon, you can like add a Mew to your team, like if you didn't make the event for like Emerald or whatnot. So it's really cool. This is how I've been streaming. It's how I've been streaming this game here, which has been very fun. So if this interests you guys watching this, I will be streaming this probably tomorrow instead of today. I named her Norp. Her name was like Tara or some shit. But anyway, oh, redeemed hydrate. Thank you. Sir, could you do the Dame Eos Dados thingy? Oh, Dame Los Dados. That's give me the dice from, oh man, that's a deep cut. That's from my Olympic history, or my Olympic marathon 1904 Olympic marathon video. I had a skit where Felix Cardahan, shoot, am I actually forgetting a video that I made? Felix Carbajal, I think was his name. He came from Cuba to race in a marathon, this dude right here, and the first thing he did was gamble away all his money in a casino. And I had a skit where I had him go, "Dame los dados." Dang, that's a deep cut. Let's watch that real quick. Watch that. It's right here. Where did these chapters come from? I didn't put these chapters in my video.
It's quaint little to the US.
Volume is so quiet. Oh my god.
What's
Here.
this quaint little contest?
Dice. One in. Oh, well, I suppose I could spare $1 or $2.
Dame los dados.
Upon arrival, oh man, what a silly little skit. Dang, how long ago was this now? I remember talking to my dad and my friends about wanting to make this video after I had made the China video before that. And before this, I had like a gaming channel where I had a bunch of gaming videos that are all unlisted now and you'll never see them. This video had done much better than those videos at the time. Those videos were good. I think like around when I was posting this video, I had like a few thousand subs, maybe a few hundred, maybe a few thousand. And then I posted this video and it did like thousands of views, like a couple thousand views, while the other videos would like eventually get to over 1,000 views, and that was really cool to me. But this one did really well, and this was like a little experiment passion project of mine, and everyone just loved it. Or at least at the time they did. And so that made me start wanting to do more of these kind of videos, because I had more fun doing it than the gaming videos. It was much cooler to me and let me express myself creatively. The gaming videos were just fun with my friends. Could you unlist the gaming videos? No. I don't like them anymore. There's one that I kind of like, and I might unlist that one day, but that one is like a Battlefield 1 funny moments video. Anyway. Oh, hello, Megatank58. Welcome, first time chatter. What did we have? That's what my cousin had. I've been looking for that for years. It was, oh, yeah, you're talking about the GB operator. Yes. Are you or Stellar the superior J? Me? Duh. Is that a question, bro? I literally established I am God, like quite literally God. You can't beat God. I'm God. I'm the God. Like, I'm that guy. I'm that God. He can talk all his shit, but he'll never face me in fisticuffs because he knows what's coming. Do you have any old Pokemon GBA games with old saves still on them? I do. I have Pokemon Emerald. That's like the oldest Pokemon game I played. But this cartridge I got back in college, actually, because I didn't have my original old Pokemon games anymore. Oh man, I made such a dumb decision. When I was a kid, I loved my Game Boy. It was so fun, but I remember I had lost the charger for it, and instead of, doing the smart thing, like looking for a new charger, I just assumed you couldn't get them anymore, because they weren't really making Game Boys, and they weren't really a thing. This is like the DS era. So I'm like, well, this it's gone forever. It's a dead Game Boy. I can't charge it because I don't have a charger, and therefore it's forever gone. So I had a garage sale for my neighborhood's garage sale, and I put my Game Boy on the table for $1 because I'm like, it's dead. It's unusable. It's like only a little fun little prop now. I'm just a kid. Put my Game Boy on the table for $1, and the first guy that came into the garage sale, he was like, I want to say, with my eyes, I thought he was like in his 20s, but he very well could have just been a teenager or something. He came in, he saw that without a word, threw $1 on the table, grabbed it, and left. Like, he knew, like, this is not a fair deal. This guy's selling his Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101, the backlit display version, and he got it for $1. I guarantee you that's like one of the best deals in Game Boy history. No one's selling those for $1. Have you seen what good condition Game Boy SPs go for? The AGS 101 model with the backlight? The condition mine was in, which I was always a very good kid with my toys. I took such good care of them. If anything of mine had a scratch, I was upset. So this Game Boy was like pristine, no scratches. If I don't touch the glass of things, like this is making me sound autistic. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I don't like fingerprints on things, so I don't touch the glass of my computer. I don't touch the glass of my car. I don't touch the glass of my screen. I want it to be spotless. So my Game Boy screen was spotless, no scratches, no nicks. I mean, maybe like a little bit because I was a kid. But he got this like perfect deal Game Boy in a condition that is now worth like $300 or something for $1. And so in college, when I wanted to start playing Game Boy games again, I had to rebuy a Game Boy. And so I spent like $100 and something for a new Game Boy when I could have just had my Game Boy. And it hurts. And I still had some old Game Boy games, luckily. But I don't know where my old DS went. I ended up buying a new DS. Like the DS Lite, like the OG one. But yeah, my original DS, that just, I don't remember what happened to that. I think like there was like a period of time where I shifted to playing like PlayStation. And so all that stuff was just like, I didn't touch it anymore. So my parents, you know, like they just kind of like get rid of things as you grow up. So like toys that later on you kind of wish you still had, you realize your parents just kind of threw away. Or like some cool Yu-Gi-Oh cards your parents got rid of. And like, you know, they could have been worth like a few $100s now, but you don't have them anymore. So this is why I support hoarding. That's the message here. When you have kids, hoard their shit, because they might want it one day. And that piece of cardboard, that little like Blue Eyes White Dragon first edition, maybe they want that one day. Or their DS, maybe they want that one day. Or maybe the Simpsons for the DS, maybe they want that one day. And I bring up the Simpsons because that's like the one DS game that I still had after all these years. I had to rebuy all my other DS games that I wanted to play again. So yeah, that's my sob story. If you want to know how hard my life was, I lost my Game Boy, guys. Yeah, he just took that shit and ran, man. He knew what he was doing. It kind of pisses me off. Like I'm thinking like if I saw that and I saw that kid behind this little table with his Game Boy on the table next to his electric scooter that he was selling, I would have been like, hey man, keep it. But like, I also understand snagging a $1 Game Boy deal, you know? So sad. But luckily, I have my Game Boy stuff again. Not the same as when I was a kid, but someone else's old Game Boy who didn't take as good of a condition or as good of care of it because it scratches all over and the screen is scratched. But you know, you get what you can get. I'm working on modding Game Boys, so I might try to get into that. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna put like an IPS screen in one and reshell it so it's like brand new essentially, but it won't be the same because it's not the same quality, you know. Oh man, what did I miss? Yeah, backlit advanced, dude. It was perfect. Anyway, that was the director's commentary. I think I really do want to play Final Fantasy, but it's already 10 p.m. for me, so I just I don't know about tonight, guys. I'm thinking, how about we put a rain check on the Final Fantasy 6 for tomorrow. Tomorrow at say like 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern. How does that sound, folks? Like 5 p.m. I should maybe start scheduling streams better. But I just kind of do them when I want. But for now, it's bedtime. Animation and then bedtime for me. But anyway, thank you all for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the director's commentary and just hearing my little erratic, crazy thoughts into what I'm doing. But keep an eye out for tomorrow for some more streaming around 4 to 5 Eastern. We'll see. Play it by ear. It'll be around that time, like afternoon, evening. I'm sorry everyone that wanted to see it. But yeah. Oh, we can raid people. I forgot that that's a thing. Okay, I'll look into that for the Twitch people. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming. And for people on Patreon, I will be doing another character drawing live stream in the next few days as well. I need to make an announcement about my planned date for that too. I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of making like mainline content, so I want to like set aside time to actually write a script and shit. And then there's other stuff I want to do for organizing myself and figuring out productivity improvements. And just like, improving. I want to get better at what I'm doing. So anyway, good night, everyone. I will now I will say goodbye to the YouTube people, but I'm gonna figure out how to raid someone on Twitch because I don't think I've ever done that. So if anyone's a Twitch head, how do you do that? You know what I could do? I could find my slave real quick. Nathaniel, is he in Discord? He's always in Discord. He's got to be in Discord. Oh my god, he's not in Discord. What? Where's my slave when I need him? Hold on, I'm gonna call him on Discord. He's got to answer. He's my slave after all. He says I laid down because not feeling well. Yeah, but like I need help, so I don't care if he's sick. Hey Nate, answer the call. Answer the call, please, Nate. Please, Nate. Wait, Cass knows how to raid. Raid, can you tell me how to, or Cass, can you tell me how to raid? Nate doesn't have feelings, guys. Don't say sorry and poor Nate. He's fine. He's fine. He's not answering though. Maybe he actually died. You just said raid? Yeah, how do I raid no space? What does that mean? Oh, like dash raid? Oh, okay. All right. Do I have a, wait, I think I have a friend streaming right now, so I might raid him. How about that? I have a friend who's really entertaining on Twitch. He's also kind of mad at me because I kind of like fucked him up in Mario Party. So you guys know what you should do when you go into his chat, say Pummel Party sucks, Mario Party goated, or something along those lines. His name's Pancake. He's streaming Borderlands right now with some friends. But let me find his username. Go to Twitch.tv, and then his channel. So do I just like copy or just type his username and it'll work? Let's try it. Dash raid. All right, rush my pancake. Let's see. So yeah, Pummel Party sucks. Mario Party goated. Perfect, Sai. It's perfect. All right. Did this work?
My name is Oluseyi, and some of my favorite moments throughout my life are watching sports with my dad.
Did it work? Let's go!
Now I work at Comcast as part of the team that
all right,
created our
do I
AI
hang up now? Is that how this works?
Which uses AI to detect the major plays in
Can I end the stream for me?
Giving millions of fans like my dad and me new ways.
Cass, do I just end and then it's good? You can start it now or wait for the timer to go. Oh! Okay, so I click raid. All right,
did I take a sip of water? Are you talking to me? Did you drink?
Remember the line.
You asked me to, I'll take a sip of
Pummel
water.
Party sucks. Mario Party goated. You gotta say
Are you
it.
looking it up just for some badass rank?
All right, here we go.
I mean, kinda. I don't know. I feel like we got 2 out of 3 at this point. Like we made good for the last one.
I'll do posture check. Hell yeah.
And then we only really have time for that, anyways, because you know it's kind
Oh my god, they actually did it. That's so funny. They're all saying, "Oh, he's so pissed. He's so mad."
Fuck out of here!
Let's
what
go!
The fuck?
Let's go!
Blue Jay, what the fuck?
Let's go!
Blue Jay with the raid,
Oh
bro.
my
I thought you were a
God.
YouTube streamer, bro. What are you doing on Twitch? I thought you got
Oh
the
my
RedJay
God.
channel. What the
That's
fuck's going on?
beautiful.
Multi-streaming. Ah.
All right.
Blue Jay said he isn't
YouTube.
starting Mario Party. Hey, well, I came in
I
second
will
place.
see you
actually.
guys
That dude
later.
came in third, I think. Actually, so I don't know what he's talking about. Like, dude's actually unqualified to talk
Oh my
about.
God,
it was
that's so
a slot
funny.
came in
All right,
first
guys.
place, right?
Have a good one. I'll stream tomorrow.
So like,